What up, nerds, and welcome to another ghastly episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 498, recorded Sunday, October 13th, 2024. Tonight we're talking about not one, not two, but three movies, as was chosen by the October poll. We're doing our triple feature. We're talking Ghostbusters from 1984, Casper from 1995, and The Others from 2001. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy, Candy Randy. What's up, man?
Pumpkins.
What's up, baby? Happy Halloween to all.
Happy Halloween.
Spook specters and otherwise ghastly ghouls today. How about you?
Hell yeah. Buddy, you're looking sweeter than a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Okay. Thank you for that bit of cooterdom there.
Hey, I'm just making sure my friends are feeling good and appreciated, all right? That's what I'm here to do.
And then you really provide the reach arounds that you can only get here. We got our good friends at A Cut Above to give the
proper reach arounds.
The proper safe for work reach arounds. Around here, you're doing it dirty.
Well, let me reach on around to our last but not least guest. We got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy. Bustin' makes me feel good. Stains. Orgy.
Dude.
Makes me feel good.
There's some ghost fucking in these movies, you know?
There's some ghost.
Why do you think I picked these movies? By the way, 3 years running, boys. Whoa.
I know.
Man.
Son of a bitch.
Whoa. Ghastly Ghouls snuck Casper in there right before 500 there, boys.
Squeaking her in.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. We had to hit this classic before, you hit 500.
Casper.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the big win.
Congratulations. Thank you. It was tight, though. This is probably the closest triple feature poll we've had. It was going up and down.
Man, really?
Right,
yeah, I mean, it came down to
everybody got Rob really high on their power.
Spin.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. That shit was nuts. Yeah,
people were trying to sell off votes. Man, it was crazy.
The randomizer on the internet really chose the winner. So
yeah.
There you
that's
go.
True, yeah.
Ghastly Ghouls, we're talking
down to chance.
3 spooky, haunted comedies, actually. Two out of 3.
Yeah,
two out of the
all
3.
I would say
comedies.
Yeah.
I would say family-friendly horror film or family-friendly horror adjacent films.
Mostly, yeah.
I think even the third one is it's appropriate.
The Ghost BJs might be a little over the line.
That's the thing. The one that you would think would definitely be like family friendly is like, yeah, there's ghost fucking in it. It's like,
I guess that is true.
But anyway,
so does Ghost. I mean, so does Ghost.
You're right.
It's all people
family.
really want to fuck a ghost, is what I'm finding out about humanity. Yeah. They want to fuck the dead.
Damn,
that's a whole other kettle of fish, right?
That is.
I don't know if it is.
Ghosts and the dead. There's a
There's a girl on my bed. Yes.
All been there, boys.
Yes. Let's before we get into it, let's tackle just a little bit of housekeeping here real quick. So we do have our November poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this November. The theme for November is Grim Gatherings. The movies you're voting between are Cheap Thrills, Rope, and The Sacrament.
Whoa, Bob, this might be the only time this month you can give us a proper update with all the crazy recordings.
And it will be way too late for anybody to benefit from it.
Yeah.
But how are those numbers looking so far as of today, the day we're recording?
The 13th, about halfway through the month of October. We got another tie on our hands here. First place is tied for Cheap Thrills and The Sacrament, both sitting at 39% of the vote, and holding up the rear is Rope with 22%.
Okay, well, those numbers seem like they've been going all over the place, too.
Yeah, they kind of have been. What the fuck?
People are really swinging their dicks in these polls recently.
People love power. I mean,
love power. and only we can give it to them.
That's what we're selling on our Patreon is power.
Yeah.
my
Pure,
God.
unadulterated power. Ultimate.
You even know who I am.
Complete control.
But you
get-
got to share it with,
like
a few
60 other people.
shared power, but it's power. It's power.
Get those votes in before the end of October. We'll see what we're talking about this November. We're dropping mini casts every single Friday throughout the month of October. We're talking about Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. Next up is going to be episode 17. Treehouse of Horrors 17.
Whoa.
I've forgotten
man.
what the segments are now, but
I do
know. Every time, dude. I'll watch it and I'll forget the next day.
dude, yeah, I don't remember. I think that's the one that I liked the best, actually, and everybody else did not
hated.
like. Yeah, I think that
Sounds
was
about right.
17. So check that out.
I
There was
still
some-
couldn't. Still
There were some
couldn't tell
real
you the
variants
segments.
this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was a
I think
golem.
every segment came down to a good beer or bad beer situation.
Yeah,
It was, the Gollum.
short and
Krusty. Mhm.
can't remember the other ones.
Damn, man.
Mm.
I don't
some
even
good shit.
remember.
E.T. Is that the one that had E.T. in it?
Oh, God.
Maybe.
Maybe it did.
Kang and Kodos.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the ET segment. Anyway, check that out over on Patreon.
You can
Since-
find out for yourself
since
because we
Treehouse
sure
Horrors-
as don't know.
Yeah, we have forgotten. Speaking of Patreon, we got a brand new Patreon supporter we got to give mad shouts outs
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Holy shit. A big gigantic thank you to Jose R for signing up and showing us some love. Every dollar you guys contribute goes right back into the show. As is tradition around here, we owe you the straight chilling salute. This goes out to Jose.
Slap me in the ass.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Right in the ass, Jose. Thank you.
That's a strong hand
Thank
you
you
got
for
there.
Strong
Yeah.
backhand.
Backhand slap on the ass. Man, that's a disrespectful slap.
Take it any way I can get it, Randy.
I want it firm, okay?
Yeah.
Firmer with the backhand.
Not one of them egg salad sandwich hands, or-
What the fuck?
you know what I'm talking about.
Got them eggs.
Yeah, we've all been
Sandwich
slapped on the ass by a
hand.
bag of egg salad. What are you talking about?
Bob's kinks are showing.
Hey, sometimes you're horny and hungry. What can I say?
Sometimes feeding the beast means, getting
Yeah,
right
give
on
me
the
those
weir.
cold, clammy hands.
That smell like eggs.
Straight from the fridge,
Oh,
yeah.
God, yes.
Please don't start.
That's a great bump. What else we got going on? Oh, yeah, here's your final reminder, actually. We're hosting our 4th annual Chilloween party this Friday, October 18th.
Oh, shit.
That's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern, and that's available for anybody that supports us on Patreon at any level. We're having a digital hangout on Zoom. We'll post a link to join on Patreon just before the chill time commences. But we're going to be doing some horror trivia, and we're going to send prizes out to winners for that. We're going to be doing a costume contest as well. You guys don't have to dress up, but if you do, we'll vote on the dopest costume. We'll send out prizes for whoever wins that as well. And then we'll be screening a surprise horror film. And the boys and I will be doing a little bit of a commentary while that's rolling. And if you choose to imbibe, we'll also have a bit of a drinking game going on. Come hang
Whoa.
out.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bring it down. I'm excited to see these costumes this year, man. They've been getting better and better. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Bring the goods.
Yeah.
I had yeah. What you got a
No,
costume?
you go
idea?
ahead. Go ahead.
I had like a last second idea for a costume today.
Yeah.
And I was like scrambling to try and put it together. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it now. And I'm mad at myself. I didn't think of it sooner. but-
Literally, that was the story I was going to tell about myself.
Really?
That's crazy.
I don't want to say it just in case I
If we have the same idea, then it's fucked. Like we have a history of wearing the same, like
This is-
buying the same outfits and wearing them on the same day, fucking
Oh,
all
boy.
the time.
Yeah.
Like, if it happens with this, then we're fucked.
That would be nuts. We'll talk about it off air in case we can
Really
pull it
nuts.
off.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
thought we were all going as deerskin. I got my suit ready.
Ooh,
Got the
that's
hat.
a good costume.
Got the
that'd be an
pants.
expensive costume, man.
I mean,
Like hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands.
I'm sure that you can get a Spirit of Halloween deerskin
Deerskin
outfit somewhere for like $17, you know?
like $17. Where's your deerskin corner section?
Looking for the deerskin.
Where's the deerskin
outfit.
display?
Yeah, I know you
is it
got
by
it.
rubber or
I know you got it. Last thing I got here is my boy Mikey and myself just dropped a new episode of Let's Get Physical Media. We're talking about our September pickups. If you guys are into collecting Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVDs, VHS tapes, anything like that, check out Let's Get Physical Media anywhere you get your podcasts.
Hell yeah,
Cool.
man.
There you go. That's all I got. You guys have anything you want to plug?
I do have to
Damn
plug
thing.
one thing. So we just finalized the details for our yearly Halloween party here in Seoul. So if you're in Seoul or Korea, or you want to fly on over for our Halloween event, it's going to be happening Saturday, October 26th at the DCC Dice and Comics Cafe here in Seoul. And that is going to be us and the Dark Side of Seoul and DCC Cafe are all hosting together. We're going to be doing horror trivia. We finalized some of the games. We're going to be playing Werewolf. We're going to be playing Nightmare, like we do
Nice.
every year. Yeah. And
Fuck
we
yeah,
got the old school TV this year to play the Nightmare on. We were testing out the volume and everything last night. And also we got retro gaming this year. So going to be doing like some Castlevania. We were going through a bunch of old school NES spooky games last night. Pick some good ones. So come hang out with us and celebrate Halloween here, Korea
Rip
style.
off your shirt and show grief your fucking tits.
And of course, and I'll be doing trivia as well to cap the night off. So yeah, excited about that.
Heck yeah, dude.
It sounds like a blast, man.
Yeah, it's
Excited
always
for you
fun.
guys. Tell those Dark Side of Soul boys what's up for us.
Yeah.
Sup?
Sup,
What's up,
boys? What's up, boys?
What's up? Cool.
Candy Randy says, "What's up, boys?"
You know.
Candy Randy sending you an egg salad slap to the fanny.
You know what's up.
You know how
know
to go, baby.
exactly what I mean. I know you do. I think
normal men.
that's it. I think that's all we got. We good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely it.
This house is clean.
All right, Candy Randy. We're getting into the main event, kicking it off with the first film of the evening, which is Ghostbusters. Let's do it with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
All right, Bob, do you have this box? Because I do not, and you might as well read it if you'd like to.
Bob
Yeah.
had 3 boxes in
I
hand.
had the
Boom.
3.
I got the
Whoa.
Good edition.
steel book.
That looks good.
Yeah, it's got both Ghostbusters movies in it on 4K and on Blu-ray.
Oh.
And there's a bunch of bonus features and stuff too. However, there's nothing to read on the back of the box. It's just a picture of all the goons. So if you've
All
got
the
the
goons.
IMDb, you can read it off of that. But yeah, all the goons. You know, all the goons.
I think
Whoa.
if you're
Check
this
this out.
Oh my
Whoa.
god! Justin has a
Oh.
box.
I forgot to throw this. I was still probably eating breakfast when
God.
we were, and it's Korean.
Holy
You're falling
Who
into
you
the
gonna
vortex.
call? I know. This is
Nice.
one of the
Oh,
few boxes I have.
That's
Actually,
how
I
it
mean,
starts.
I got some, but yeah, Ghostbusters. Whoa,
It's Milla
here it is. It's
time.
blue, and the back of the box is all in Korean. Whoa.
Wow.
Nice.
You guys are of no use to me.
Let me go ahead and read it.
All right. Everybody knows this movie, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. 3 parapsychologists forced out of their university funding set up shop as a unique ghost removal service in New York City, attracting frightened yet skeptical customers. That's from imdb.com. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this, then please shut this thing off and go watch it, because, I mean, it's kind of seminal viewing. This is one of the most popular movies of the last several decades, for sure, as is evidenced by the endless amounts of attempts to repeat the process with terrible sequels. So,
Yeah. Holy shit.
yep.
Yeah, PG, mostly safe for the family, outside of the ghost fucking, like we alluded to.
Yeah, it's an 80s PG, so
Yeah,
that has some sway.
faux show. Yeah, that's probably a silly question. We've all seen this movie before, so I won't ask it. Would you recommend folks check it out, though, Randeezy?
I mean, I think I just did, so yes.
Tight. Juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend people check this out, and I think it's like I said, a good one to watch, like with your kids or younger squad if you need to. But yeah, I think everybody can gather around the old boob tube and watch this one together in the Halloween season. Bob? How do you feel about this?
The
Would you recommend this?
Tube.
Skip it.
Yeah, I'd give it a recommend. I'm not as hot on this as I think a lot of people are. But yeah, check it out. I think you gotta at least watch it once if you're listening to this show. Yeah, check it out for sure.
All right.
So yeah, sounds like just a blanket recommend from the Straight Chilling crew here. We're gonna be spoiling the shit out of this movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
All right, fellas, let me do you the honor here real quick and give you the quick Ghostbusters synopsis. And by quick, I mean, This is too many paragraphs. I can tell you that already. Directed by Ivan Reitman, released June 8th, 1984. In New York Public Library, a librarian encounters a horrifying ghost. A team of scientists, including the logical Egon Spengler by Harold Ramis, ghost enthusiast Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd, and wise-ass Peter Venkman, played by Bill Murray, are tapped to investigate as they encounter the same ghost. When they arrive back at their university, they find that their roles as academic paranormal researchers have been eliminated. The three men decide to start a business of their own, capturing and removing unwanted ghosts and spirits. They purchase an old firehouse and retrofit a ghost containment system in the basement. Business is very slow. Their first windfall comes in the form of a ghost haunting at a fancy hotel. They use ghost hunting equipment in the form of proton packs, which Egon warns could eliminate all life in the universe if they cross the streams, cross the streams that emit from them. Excuse me. I wrote this. I should be able to do this. After some destructive hijinks, they manage to capture the spirit and put down their first bit of profit. Meanwhile, musician Dana Garrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, encounters a supernatural monster in her refrigerator that uses the word Zool. She approaches the Ghostbusters for help, and Venkman immediately starts putting the moves on her as he investigates her seemingly ordinary penthouse apartment. Business rapidly picks up, and the Ghostbusters become overnight celebrities as bust ghost after ghost. Jesus.
They're busting
with the help of their...
Hell yeah.
They're busting them. And it makes them feel good. I'll tell you that. With the help of their newly enlisted fourth Ghostbuster, Winston Zedmore, played by Ernie Hudson. Meanwhile, Environmental Protection Agency employee Walter Peck grows suspicious of their operation, and after being barred from inspecting their ghost containment unit, he promises to get a warrant to do so. After some research, Egon and Ray discover Zool is a name of a harbinger of a demonic god named Gozer. At the same time, Dana and her neighbor, Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis, are attacked and possessed by Zool and a second similar harbinger, Vinz Clortho. Venkman arrives to find Dana clearly possessed as she awaits somebody she calls the Keymaster. Walter Peck returns to Ghostbusters HQ with a warrant and demands that the containment unit, now bursting with spirits, be turned off. The moment they turn it off, a large burst of supernatural spirits are unleashed on New York, wreaking havoc. The Ghostbusters are temporarily sent to the city jail, where they realize that Dana's apartment building was built by cultists intentionally to bring about Gozer and the end of the earth. The Ghostbusters are removed from lockup and brought to an emergency meeting with the mayor and Walter Peck. Venkman manages to convince the mayor that not only are they able to subdue the ghosts with their new insights, but that Walter Peck has no genitals. The men are escorted to Dana's apartment building, where they arrive in time to see Dana and Louis Tully turn into demon beasts and then open the gates to another world. Gozer steps out of the door. Gozer demands that they choose a form for their destruction, and Ray inadvertently chooses a snack food mascot, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Immediately, a kaiju-sized Marshmallow Man begins attacking New York and approaching the Ghostbusters. Egon suggests that they use their one last-ditch Hail Mary move by crossing the streams of their proton packs, which turns out to be exactly the right move. The Marshmallow Man and Gozer are destroyed on the spot. Dana and Louis are released from possession, and the Ghostbusters are heralded as heroes. And there you go.
Bravo, Randy, with that fucking synopsis. Killing it. Killing the game. You know what? The job's yours. The job's yours.
I like to stick to the end. It's the one that I like to do.
don't know about that. I think mine's shorter.
I also don't know about that.
Well, the job's yours, Juice. That's fine. You can have it. Since
the
you
job
want it
is
so
Chat
bad.
GPT's.
Yeah.
The job belongs to AI now.
We're all out of a job. The AI took our jobs. We got
Well,
nothing.
that's just fine.
That's a job that I think we can happily do without.
They're even ghost busting.
That's a job the machines can have.
Yeah, summarizing this shit. This is a classic film. I think that is a fair statement to make. The fucking theme alone is such an earworm on this movie. It's out of control catchy, man. Like,
yeah,
it really is. Yeah, like the who you gonna call, all this stuff. There's some trivia that I read about this too, like prepping for tonight's show, and like I guess Lewis Parker Jr. Lewis Parker. Yeah, am I saying that right? I feel like I got that wrong.
No idea.
Ray Parker Jr. That's what I was like thinking of. I'm combining him with Lewis Tully for some reason. Anyway, he got the who you gonna call from watching late night plumber commercials. He did not want to say the word Ghostbusters because he thought it sounded stupid. So he had his kids and his like wife or whatever like say Ghostbusters as a chant, as a call and response, so he didn't have to say it. And you know what? All that considered, and he apparently ripped off Huey Lewis in the News. So the man was. For the amount of phoning in that was happening here, it really is a fucking catchy song.
Didn't they want Huey Lewis to do it, and then he said no?
I didn't read that, but
or is that
maybe
that could be just some bullshit people talk about, but isn't really true. I remember.
What I'm reading to you is IMDb trivia, so it's all could be bullshit as far as we know.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But
regardless, it's fucking great. The song is great. This is one that I didn't necessarily grow up with. Did you guys watch this when you were younger?
I didn't really either, except maybe I still was familiar with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man somehow. So maybe I'd seen that scene, so I would say it's not one that I hold in my childhood like nostalgia. Maybe I did see it as some other people were watching it, but it's not one that like I knew by heart and like love from my childhood. So I guess no.
I mean, I didn't know it by heart, but I definitely watched this movie growing up. This is a movie. There's a handful of movies that I can remember being like huge points of fear for me that like actually scared the crap out of me as a kid that I can just vividly remember. This is one of them, specifically when all the spirits are let loose on New York. And one of them flies up a taxi cab's tailpipe and turns into a corpse man driving the cab. That corpse man fucked with me the first time I saw this movie. I remember I was being babysat that night, and I was like,
"Yeah, you were."
I couldn't go to sleep. yes, I was.
This was 2 weeks ago.
I was being sat on.
I'm terrified. Put me to bed.
Lay in bed with me.
Damn.
Girl, on my bed. Yes.
That was me.
Yeah, there is a lot of ghost fucking here tonight. This movie gets super sexual.
Dude, it really does, man. I mean, Aykroyd just full on getting a blowy by a ghost is, I guess, the most egregious. The gatekeeper definitely gets pretty fucky, but luckily Bill Murray, it's like the only redemptive thing Bill Murray does in the whole movie is like when she's trying to actually
bang the ghost.
He doesn't, but like he's such a piece of shit. Like,
dude, he
kind of is
throughout this whole movie. He is a sex pest, but he luckily doesn't bang the ghost or whatever.
I'm so glad you guys said that because I was like worried I was gonna have to beat the drum on that one. But yeah, he's he's not just a sex pest. He's also like a shit friend and like
terrible
takes out like a third mortgage. Yeah, he's just really shitty all around.
Mortgage, yeah. Oh my god. True horror.
The only thing he does that, and he also manages to sweet talk the mayor. Those are the two redeeming moments of his entire fucking movie.
That scene
experience.
is
that
funny,
being hilarious
when he's like, "You'll save millions of potential voters or registered voters." Whatever he said.
The priest is like.
The priest is like, "Yeah, that's the move.
Oh, that's the good stuff right there."
I will say that I revisited this just a couple years ago. Pretty recently. And because of his character, I was kind of turned off by the movie a little bit. I watched it. It had been a long time since I'd seen it. I was like, oh, that wasn't as good as I remember it. However, I will say this watch around, it was very funny. I found myself cracking up like quite a bit. Like found it a lot more entertaining. I guess since I was expecting his character to be really shitty, like that was sticking sticking in my mind from last watch. This time around, I found like Rick Moranis' character was cracking me up.
He's the funniest part, I think.
King, dude.
Yeah, dude, he was killing it. It was really funny. Like him throwing this party, but only inviting clients so that he could write it off. That dude, he talks so funny to me
about the money he saved.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. So, like, somebody shows up to the party late, and as they walk in, he's explaining their finances out loud to the whole room. And he's like, "So they're gonna be okay." Like, I love that bit.
I managed to convince him to do this sort of loan, like that sort of shit. I'll tell you this: another piece of trivia that I've looked up. That scene, it's a continuous shot, and it's all improvised.
That's
all
cool.
improvised from Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis killed it, man.
He's a fucking killer in this movie, and
he's so
everything.
funny. Yeah,
he rules. But yeah, like I really love Louis Tully, but yeah, Venkman is always heralded as the best in this, and he is very, very funny. Don't get me wrong. Like he's not a good guy, and I kind of had a similar reaction to you, Justin, at least once. It was a combination of that and like the absolute slobbing of the knob over this movie and the sequels. The Frozen Empire that I just watched on a plane recently, and whatever the previous one, Afterlife, which I saw in a bar on mute, and both were more than enough for me. It was, man, those are not good movies, and they're just doting on this thing like it's fucking J.R.R. Tolkien or some shit. It's insane. And it's really like one-liners, mostly ad-libbed, that people love about this movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's very silly the way people think about this thing, but going back and watching it this time, going in there with that negative attitude, I was delighted by this movie again. I found myself really liking it.
I wasn't really. I was kind of the experience you explained watching this a couple years ago, Juice, is kind of like how I felt about it this time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I watched it, like it probably 5 years or something like that. And I never like really paid as close attention to it as I did this time, I guess, just knowing that we'd have to talk about it at length. And it's just every time Bill Murray, like not every time, he does have some funny moments for sure, but like the majority of the lines he's spewing are just like, he's just such an asshole that I also get the feeling that he's kind of just being himself too, which makes it even less enjoyable to know that he's kind of a smug prick in real life. But trying to like sort of ignore that, I think everybody else does a good job. The other like Ghostbuster, like the rest of the crew aren't super funny. Like Bill Murray's the funnier of them for sure, but Rick Moranis really brings it. I think he's super funny. But
Egon had some moments for me this time.
I love Egon. I was going to say
Egon,
under the desk and just like popping up. I was like, oh shit.
See, Egon, he's got some shit going on.
And he had the dry humor of him just being like, I collect funguses and blah blah. Like, I was getting cracked up. Bob, revisit this again in 2 years and you'll feel completely different about it.
Go in hating it because you've just seen fucking Ghostbusters Mark 12 or whatever, Ecto Cooler Plus. And,
Sigourney Weaver does well in this. I think
Sigourney,
she does she's not entertain Bill Murray's bullshit, which makes him a little more tolerable, that she like kind of handles him in a way,
Except then she kind of does.
At the very end, she's just like,
not at the very end, but like when in the middle, when he's being really good, when he's gonna give her the information about Gozer and stuff like that, she's like charmed by it, and I was like, okay, this is not.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
She's a little charmed by him when she's out there with her like I don't know cellist friend or whatever, and like he's like giving this guy, it's like, who's this guy? I don't remember what he says, but he kind of gives them some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even fucking know these people. Yeah, I don't know. You're a dickhead.
Yeah.
He's being a dickhead. And they're funny lines, but he's being a dickhead.
He's being a fucking asshole. He's like, you're starting to look better. I'm sorry you're ill. Like, the dude's fine. Like, he looks fine. Like,
he's such a piece of shit.
He really is. Yeah.
Almost all of his lines in this movie were ad-libbed. Like, I think I mentioned that already, didn't I?
Oh, really? Wait, Bill Murray's?
Bill Murray's, yeah.
Well, you did mention Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis did, but so did Bill Murray. There's a lot of ad-libbing in this. I mean, even Egon ad-libbed the line about like when Venkman was like, you remember that time you tried to drill a hole in your head? And he says, that would have worked if you hadn't stopped me. That was a Harold Ramis line. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, like so there's ad-libbing going on, but like almost all of Bill Murray's lines were ad-libbed, and his part was not like written as thoroughly as you see on screen, because at one point they had Chris Rock in the role of as Winston, and then they lost him, and then they just pared that role completely down, unfortunately for Ernie Hudson, and just gave a lot more spotlight to Ghostbusting ass Murray.
Yeah, I see. Well, yeah, it's it is absolutely ridiculous the way people kind of treat this film after I haven't even seen the newer guys. I haven't seen any, to be fair, of the like Ghost of 2016. I didn't watch that because, like I said, I didn't really grow up with this, and it's been, God, I couldn't even tell you the last time I've seen two. So I am pretty detached from this franchise, and just revisiting this one and what it is. It's such a nothing. They're not putting anything in a place to build any kind of like major lore, whatever. I mean, even like the science of it, it's pretty clever for a comedy where they're just like, and I made this trap, and it's a start your own business type of movie. You know, it's
they're
like,
exterminators,
I don't know.
but they're exterminators. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this though, because I've heard that line, like fucking one of the Red Letter Media guys said that on their review some years ago. It's like, this is not a comedy. This is not like a serious sci-fi. This is a comedy about friends starting up a business together. And I will contend against that a little bit, because there is a fuck ton of like groundwork laid for the ghosts or whatever. A lot of it's like magical thinking stuff, but like the containment unit, the EPA, the way the mayor reacts, like the fucking the e-readers, all this shit, like they set up a lot of stuff, and it does create a through line. I think there's more sci-fi in there than people are giving it credit for these days, but not as much as the movies give it credit for. The sequels give it credit for. Certainly
I like the minutia of like what world building they actually do. Like, I think just the look of like the outfits, the packs they wear, the Ecto-1, all that stuff is like, it's very like iconic. It really, you can recognize it anywhere. Like even Slimer, even just like, you know, that specific design of the ghost is like so easily recognizable. I think they did a great job like fleshing that stuff out, like, you know, for how much is in the movie, which maybe it's not a ton, but it's enough.
But I guess that's kind of like but it's so, Slimer's such a throwaway thing.
He is, yeah.
You know, he's in like one scene. No,
right,
yeah, he's not this thing. And even, I mean, they recognize that, and they even go back to it, you know, in the cartoon series that they have, you know, he's like a regular character. And it's like understandable when you're doing stuff like that. But it's absolutely ridiculous for people to treat this as seriously as they do. It's so like, it all just, and kind of talking about too, I don't know. I don't feel like they thought about it that way though, because everything just kind of happens. You know, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, it's like a scene that takes 2 minutes. It's not building up to anything. It just kind of happens. They blow him away and it's done. Even like the showdown with like Gozer or whatever. It's all treated very kind of flippantly, they don't care about it. Like I feel like it's just there to kind kind of push things along, and it's okay. Movie. Yeah, I'm not saying that in a negative
but I think
way.
That they give it a proper. I think they give it like it's not heavy, but they give it enough weight. It's like, yeah, this is the climax. It feels like a climactic battle.
It does.
Like, and they give a lot of production value to some of that shit. Gozer's area or whatever looks cool. Like
it does look cool. Yeah.
Unlike the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a really funny idea. Like, it's a fucking kaiju in the shape of like a Michelin Man.
That is
I guess the difference being is like, if this were made today in the style of today, it's like you would all the kind of like little fun scenes they do of go into the hotel and the library and stuff would be replaced about like talking about the more lore of Gozer and how intimidating it's going to be and how to do it. It's just
they do that in the sequels.
They do that in this one.
Dude.
Like, there's a lot,
little bit.
The fucking prison scene where they're going over like what the cultists wanted, and even when they're talking about Zool and they're like, oh, there's this guy that designed this building, did a lot of unnecessary surgery,
and all this, like the blueprints while they're in jail. Like,
I think they had them. I don't know. Like, but that doesn't matter. The thing is, like, I think that we're thinking of it in terms of like what makes this movie work versus the other movies work, but those are in the other movies because they worked so well in this one. The horse followed the cart on that, and that's why it's less impactful, because they're not following their own nose. I think that the 2016 sequel, for all of its faults, and there were many, it wasn't very funny, but it was a vehicle for comedy, and I think that that's what's missing from the newer ones. The only comedy that's in the newer ones is like slice of life family like shit or self-referential cameo stuff, which is something that even Ghostbusters 2 suffered from a little bit, even though I really liked that one. But also, like, if they made this movie today, it would be like every other movie, because movies are modeled after this kind of blockbuster with these big fucking huge cinema fucking effects laden battle endings. Like, this is the kind of thing that led to like the Marvel shit taking over, the superhero thing being big. And like, I don't know, like it's marketable because people liked movies like this, and this movie is fucking good. Like it's good at those things in an isolated vacuum where we're not inundated with that sort of movie every fucking year and by the dozen. It's a great movie, like on all counts, I think, just about.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of the effects hold up very well. I was wondering, because we were saying, like, you know, mostly a family-friendly film. I wonder how this movie would be received from a younger audience today. You know, if it would be, if the effects would just look super cheesy and lame, or if they would find it interesting at all.
The ones I thought looked the worst, so I think actually they hold up like, well, for the most part, except for the dogs. I think the dogs look the worst, like the demon dogs or whatever. But I think the ghost flying around, I think those look pretty good.
They look okay.
I think that it all looks pretty good, man. For the era, certainly. Like, this is like pretty cutting edge stuff. And I don't know. We've seen some dog shit special effects from this era. We've seen movies from like years, like recent years, that don't have effects this good. I think we're kind of rating it on a little bit of a curve, but they threw money at this thing, and I think it shows. I think that for like none of it's like convincing, like a fucking absolute realism, but it's got a style that I appreciate.
Yeah,
it's kind of got like a style the way that like Pee-wee's Big Adventure has a style with its special effects, with its claymation and shit like that. It just sort of like leans into what it has. Its matte paintings are great. Like, I don't know. I think that there's some stuff that like doesn't look perfect or whatever. And apparently when they released it kind of unfinished, because it was like they were finishing it like up to like 2 weeks before they fucking dropped it in the theaters. But they've cleaned it up after that, I think, a little bit.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but like Ivan Reitman said something like, surprisingly, nobody gave a shit. They just enjoyed themselves because it was a fun, silly thing that people didn't have to take too seriously, and it was also full of the kind of effects that they hadn't seen before. So they weren't like as critical as we are now. We see these movies, like I said, so much that we have a keen eye for that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this kind of different approach, talking about some of the lore though, but just the idea of like the ghost and like, why are these ghosts rising, coming to life? And I do like, who says that, where he's like, well, maybe did you consider that the dead are rising or whatever when they're talking? I think it's Winston when he's talking about,
That's Winston's like best moment in the movie.
Yeah.
Best like lore moment, best story beat. He does a great line to the mayor where he's like, I've seen shit that'll turn you white. And I was like, Winston, buddy, who you talking to right now?
Yeah,
1980s mayor of New York. It's just nothing but white here.
Yeah, it was I like that concept. I think all three of the movies that we're going to be watching, or that we're going to be talking about, have like some different takes on just ghosts in general. So this isn't your typical like your Conjuring type of thing. Of course this is comedy and stuff, but it's just it's a different approach to like catching. We're going to store the ghosts, we can put them in this storage facility, and even the threat when they first go to the hotel. And that's a really funny scene too, and they're just trashing the fucking dining hall, and like they bust up the chandelier, but then they finally catch the ghost, and he's like, well, I'm not going to pay. And he's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm just going to let this guy out of here.
We'll just let this right back.
Put this right back where we found it.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's just pretty funny. But yeah, it's just a clever, we're going to trap the ghost. We're going to put him in this little thing. And I guess the whole thing is like, they don't, they're in the elevator for the first time. They're like, well, turn this thing on. And they just drop these quick little lines about, oh yeah, we've all got a nuclear pack on our back. And then the laser shoots out. We don't need to go through this whole like explanation or this scenes of them developing it or this. I don't know. It just skips a lot of the bullshit.
Oh, you mean like in the sequels and shit?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like, things that you would typically get now of like tinkering with this pack and, it's going to blow up. And I don't know. It's a throwaway line. They're in the fucking elevator and then you know what it is and you never have to talk about it again. I don't know.
I think that's absolutely right. They do a great. I was just like, I thought that's where I was going. I thought you were going the opposite direction at first, but we agree. Like that, the way they integrate the lore is what's impeccable. Like, they don't let it overshadow anything. And when they're using it, it's because it's an impactful story beat. It's because it's like, oh shit, your girlfriend is possessed. Oh shit, the fucking, and they're trying to bring about the end of the world and like talking about all the insane shit that they just found out. Like all the drama is done well and it's well undercut without being fully undercut. And the way they do that is by not lingering too long on it. They don't have like a cut. They don't have like, Egon read something out of a book and then all realize something and look at each other and then a loud bump, 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 cut to the next scene. They don't do that shit. They make a fucking one-liner and they're like, fucking Vinkman sings So Be Good for Goodness Sake and all that shit. Like, I don't know. I just think that it's impeccably set up, those things. The way that like the way that they end the movie, the fucking MacGuffin, not MacGuffin, that's not what it is, but the crossing of the streams and all that stuff. They set that up early and they do it in a comedic fashion. They set it up with the nuclear accelerator, like you said, in the elevator. They do that in like 2 or 3 spots. The containment unit, the EPA being involved, like those are like it's just well mixed. I'm just gonna say that. It's well mixed. Yeah. It's not overladen.
Boys, do you have any other major points you want to touch on before we go ahead and rate this thing?
There was one more I want to touch on since Randy, it didn't hit me the moment he talked about being scary. But one thing I forgot, I almost forgot to mention it here. So there are a couple of scenes that are quite spooky or just even watching it this time around, I was like, oh shit, yeah. The one that really sticks out to me is when Sigourney Weaver's in her apartment and the arms that grab her from the chair like start ripping her clothes and stuff, and then she's like pulled into the kitchen. That shit's fucked up. That's really dark and fucked up shit. Yeah, I would say that's probably like the darkest scene in this movie. And then even when she's possessed, she does a really good job, and it is creepy. And then she's like, oh, you want this body? And it's pretty fucked up.
And she floats.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I agree. Like, it's like I was saying before, it's like it's well integrated, but like it makes perfect sense for the sensible straight man character of Dana Barrett to experience things like on the level with no like comedy involved necessarily, and doing it quickly but effectively, and then moving to the next beat. Like they're just moving. They're chugging along with this. They don't linger. I think that's a lot of problems with movies right now, is lingering unnecessarily. At least comedies.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and rate this thing out of 5. Randeezy, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel?
I mean, I oscillate with this movie. Like this franchise, I'm trying my hardest not to confuse this movie with this franchise, because I think those are kind of two different conversations, and we've had both here. I think this movie is very fun. It's very fucking, like, I think it's a good, I don't think it's just like a buddy comedy. I think it's also like good action movie. Like for the most part, it's got good horror elements. It's a good gumbo of different genres. Sci-fi certainly is in the mix. Ooh. And I think that they just really blend it quite well. I think that the performances are mostly all great. Like they do a really good job. Fucking, we already, wax the car of a few people like Harold Ramis and fucking Lewis. Rick Moranis. Sigourney Weaver does a great job. Ernie Hudson, for his small bit, does a great job. Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd does a good job being sort of like the giddy schoolboy of the bunch. And then even Venkman, like, as much as he is a piece of shit, and it bothers me on some level how much of a piece of shit he is in this movie. That's not uncommon for an 80s comedy, and certainly not uncommon for a Bill Murray performance. So I'm
even
like,
Groundhog's Day, yeah. I mean, you go back to any performance,
and he's like,
he's kind of the same.
Well, and he's a pretty different character in Groundhog Day. Or not, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Caddyshack. Caddyshack, he's a different character altogether. I thought that's what you were saying. But I don't know. I think that it's just really strong on the backs of those performances, on the backs of some very capable, well-woven story beats. I think that it succeeds on those things. Oh, and also the fucking special effects that blew people's dicks off back in the day enough for them to fucking still show that goddamn Marshmallow Man on every clip show you'll ever see about special effects. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I think it's a 4-star movie for me. I really, really love it in my heart. I really, really love it watching it again this time. But I know it's got its faults, and it's certainly got a lot of legacy faults that are really not the movie's fault.
4 stars out of 5 from your boy Randeezy. Juice.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, this time around I liked it a lot more, and I found it very funny. I was like laughing quite a bit, and was just really enjoying myself watching it. It didn't feel like a chore of like, oh, I gotta watch this for the podcast, but like it really felt just like good spooky time fun, and I enjoyed it. I guess some like the positives is, yeah, all the characters are like endearing except for Bill Murray's character, but also at the same time, because he has some redeeming moments this time around, I was like, he's definitely the guy you'd want to be in your friend group, like the way he handles the hotel or whatever. Well, I'll just leave this thing here. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'd want that. I'd want that guy on my team, like, to handle those aspects of it. It's funny when they're looking for the property and they're like, what do you think? And one dude's like, it's condemned and this neighborhood's like a war zone or whatever. And then these guys, hey, did you see this fucking pole? And they all just have their own different characters. I guess some of the negatives is Winston is definitely underdeveloped. The EPA thing, they just kind of throw that in there. And in most ways, I'm like, okay with that. But a lot of times too, they just kind of like throw in this obstacle and then they just kind of breeze past it. Like even the in the beginning, the dean who cuts their funding or whatever, you think that maybe he's just kind of there and then he's not, and it's just a new way for them to like have some like move on with some new situation, which is mostly fine. But I would just say it's just kind of thin in some areas like that. It just kind of breezes by a lot of things. The ending, it does have like a big showdown, but like everything goes at like a super fast pace. But still, that fucking Marshmallow Man is fucking iconic. The crossing the streams, the packs, the car, the song. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Even without the nostalgia goggles, it's fun to go back and revisit. And I think I'll echo Randy with a 4 stars.
4 stars out of
5. Fish.
That's an impeccable Arctic Monkeys impression.
I've been practicing it.
Morrissey does. Morrissey does. Arctic Monkeys.
4 stars out of 5.
Bob, out of 5. Ghostbusters, please.
Well, yeah, I'm a little cooler on this one than you guys are right now. I feel like in the past I have enjoyed it more. For whatever reason, this time around it didn't hit me quite as well.
You're still salty about that sequel,
dude. Maybe I just have a bad taste in my mouth.
That's the thing, man.
For this franchise,
I'm not to interrupt, but like I usually am like the guy that's like, you know what? they can make as many fucking sequels and whatever of a franchise I love as much as they want. It's never going to impact the way I think of the original. But this is kind of the canary in the coal mine of that not being true, because I went into this thinking like, God, I'm so fucking tired. I'm going to have a negative review of Ghostbusters. How am I going to do that? And then I watched it and I was like, wait, this movie's fucking fun. So anyway, that was just me. But like,
yeah, that I think that probably does play into this a little bit. Also, like just me fully realizing what a piece of shit Bill Murray's character is in this, like just really made it not enjoyable in a lot of situations. Like the one, like Janine, the lady that like works their desk or she like doesn't get paid and brings it up to Bill Murray, and he's like, oh, well, with your resume and all your experience, I'm sure you can go get a great job waiting tables or like cleaning houses. And he's just like such a fucking asshole. I don't there's like little moments like that just feel cruel and like not funny. That bothered me, definitely rubbed me the wrong way. And sort of like what you were alluding to, Juice, it feels very thin. There's like no real emotional resonance. There's no real stakes happening here. Things just kind of happen, and you're on a bit of a ride with it. And as far as like a popcorn movie goes, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But I think I would like more from it if I right now at this moment don't necessarily find it very funny either. Then there's just like not much for me to get out of it. I didn't like laugh out loud really at all watching this. Maybe a couple chuckles, but I did not necessarily find it very funny. The effects are charming, I think, considering like the year this movie was made. I think it's got some charm to it, but like they are dated, so I'm not like totally bowled over by the effects either. So I'm not getting a whole lot out of it necessarily, and I don't have nostalgia for it because, like I said, I didn't really watch it growing up. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's just a fine movie, and like I wouldn't be upset if someone wanted to throw it on, but it's one that I don't reach for very often. Maybe I'll check it out in a couple years and see if I have warmed to it a little bit, but I think it's okay. I think it is just okay. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Whoa, this is Bob's new alien moment. Everyone's
do.
going to be
Oh my
coming
God.
for Bob.
I know
Vengeance will be mine, blowhole.
I know
They're
that's
going to be coming for Bob.
upset some folks, but it's not that funny. I don't know. Yeah, it's a 3. It's a 3 for me. That's how I'm feeling today.
Fucking idiot.
So that's going to be a 3.7 for Ghostbusters.
I don't think that's right. Isn't it going to be a 3.5?
No, because there's a 4, a 4,
There's
and
two
a 3.
4s.
Oh, okay. Never mind, my bad.
We could at least do our averages correctly, I think.
My bad.
It was a 3.66, and I rounded it up to totally transparent.
Actually, that's what I meant. It was going to be a 3.66666.
Bob, isn't that supposed to be a 3.
Excuse me, Bob. I don't think your calculations are quite
Who
correct
does your
on this one.
taxes? Yeah, Rick Moranis, though, for real, he's the MVP of this movie,
Yeah.
I think. I think he really is.
He's cracking me up this time. Yeah.
He is by far the funniest part of this movie. So there you go, 3.7. Let's go and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about Ghostbusters.
Certified.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these gents guess what the aggregate positive score is for Ghostbusters from both critics and users. I'm going to start with the critics, as we always do. There are 81 critic reviews available on Rotten Tomatoes, on the Tomatometer. So I'll start with Bob. Bob, there are 81 reviews. What percentage of those reviews would you imagine are positive reviews?
I gotta think it's pretty high. This is a very beloved movie. It is a classic, and it was well received back in the day when it came out too. So like people love this movie. I think it's gonna be pretty high. So I'll take, how is it gonna be in the 90s? I don't know. I'll take The Boys Project 86, please.
All right. Project 86 for Bob. Juice, what about you?
I think this is going to be high. I think it's probably going to be slightly higher than 86. So I am going to take the 90.
Ooh.
The 90. We got the 86, The Boys, and the 90. Well, the correct answer will be just 5 percentage points away from one of you. And that correct answer is 95%. So
Yeah.
Juice is going to take this one away. This one's certified fresh.
That's up there.
Hell yeah,
Man.
hell yeah, makes me feel
Even
good.
us, like if you took an aggregate of the positive reviews of this podcast, it would be a 100% on the tomatometer. So
Yeah.
Tomatometer.
Hell yeah, makes me feel good, bitch.
I'll bet.
Jeez.
Oh yeah!
Jesus Christ. Fuck.
Shit.
Oh, damn.
Let's move over to the poop meter, also known as the popcorn meter, also known as the audience score. There are 250,000 plus ratings on the poop meter. I'm gonna go in reverse order this time. Give Juice a chance to go first. Out of those 250,000 plus reviews, what percentage do you think are positive? What do you think the users are going for here?
I still think it's going to be ridiculously high. People cream their shorts over this film, except for Bob. So I think I'll stick with the 90.
Dry shorts Bob, we call him.
Shut it off. I'm dry.
All right, Bob. What about you? How dry are them shorts?
Juice, you said 90. You're sticking with your 90.
Yeah, sticking with it.
Dude, I'll take the over on this one, and I'll, maybe we'll tie. I'll get crazy with a 92.
92. All right. Well, I'm sorry to say there will be no tie. And the correct answer is just 2 percentage points away from glory. That correct answer is 88%. Soju's going to take this one as well. 88%. That's a lot. That's a big sample size, Bob. The sample
Hell
size
yeah,
burns
makes
ya.
me feel good.
Shit.
I see that you know your judo well.
Congratulations to the Juice
Damn.
for his use of the 90.
Calm
didn't
down.
I gotta do better than that.
I don't like being the straight man, but I'll do it if I need to. If I got to come in here and straighten things out.
Oh boy. Straighten me out.
Oh man,
Go for it.
straighten him right out.
Do your
He knows
worst.
what you need.
Oh, my
Give him
Lord.
what he needs, Juice. All right, now we're gonna do as we always do and jump on over to the to the negative reviews on the Rotten Tomatoes scale. There's just a couple here, and I'm gonna do them real quick. The first one reads, "This one has a long legacy in cinema that is worth considering, but I surprisingly didn't enjoy rewatching this. I found myself shrugging my shoulders a lot and being bothered by Winston's character arc or lack thereof." I think that's fair. That's one of my big complaints too. Is like
totally.
should have kept fucking Winston in there more, man.
Yeah, I know. He's
And
just
I know
kinda
from the
shoved in
trivia
there.
that it bothered Ernie that because he got the role when it was still beefier, and after Chris Rock left, then the studio was like, "Well, we want just put more Bill Murray in there," and so he got trimmed back even more.
Damn.
It sucks, but he got a little bit of his due in the sequel, a little bit more to do in the sequel, I guess. Yeah, whatever. Here's the second negative review. A part of me was for this film because I had enjoyed the cartoon series so much. This movie on its own is just, quotes, okay. So this person prefers the cartoon. Bob, how do you feel about the real Ghostbusters cartoon?
I've never seen it. I don't know. No opinion.
I started rewatching it a couple years ago, and the very first episode of that show was a weird spin on the Chris Scrooge
Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol. Fuck, yeah. It's a Christmas Carol. They go back in time and they're busting Christmas Carol ghosts.
Oh, really? Maybe they just did like a Christmas special to start Simpsons
Yeah.
style. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds
Sweet.
dead.
Oh god.
Okay, that's it for Rotten Tomatoes segment. What comes now? What's next?
Trivia.
Yeah.
You got trivia?
Yeah.
Trivia. I got trivia. Here we
Randy?
go.
It's totally time for trivia.
Still your segment, buddy.
Yeah. Your trivia daddy
I was
tonight.
jumping.
Whoa.
I've been integrating so much trivia, I completely forgot that there's a whole segment for it. Okay, there's a lot of trivia. There's a lot of trivia that I burned
Give
through on
me
IMDb trivia.
4.
What?
Said, give me 4.
I'm going to give you all of them. No.
Okay.
Some quick casting notes. The role of Peter Venkman was originally written for John Belushi, but he passed as Dan Aykroyd was writing the script. So that's unfortunate. Dan Aykroyd also referred to the Slimer puppet as Dan Aykroyd. They had him eat a bunch of shit on that cart as a reference to his National Lampoon's character, apparently. Bluto. So there's that. Also, who turned down the role of both Peter Venkman and Egon Spengler? Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton could have been in this movie. Yeah, that would have been pretty fucking interesting.
That would have been rad, yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have seen.
Fascinating.
Justin really tell me your most fascinating thing about that.
Well, the thing is,
welcome back. I was just saying that we very nearly had Michael Keaton in this film as either Venkman or Spengler, and I thought that might have been pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would have changed it, but I could see it too.
I could see it. Yeah,
he was hot at the time, dead hot,
so hot.
Also, the character of Winston, like I said, was originally supposed to join the team earlier. He was the one that was supposed to get slimed but Eddie Murphy declined the role to go make Beverly Hills Cop. So they rewrote it.
I thought you said Chris Rock.
You said Chris Rock earlier. Yeah.
Did I say Chris Rock?
Yeah.
Did I really? Jesus Christ. Eddie Murphy. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
That makes more sense. Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
It's just I wasn't ever thinking about it too hard, but yeah.
Me either. I was like, oh, crap. That's
clearly I wasn't thinking at all. I don't know why the fuck I said that. So yeah, Eddie Murphy was declined the role to go do Beverly Hills Cop. Also, a quick flash, and you'll miss it, but very famous cameo from the one and the only Ron Jeremy as an extra behind the barricades as Ray and Winston drive up in the Ecto-1 after the containment unit explodes. I mean, you can only assume, but they didn't cut down that low.
Oh boy,
he's only in the widescreen edition. Also, Gozer was originally going to be played by Paul Rubens, who turned down the role in the original script. In the original script, Gozer took the form of Ivo Shandor, the Ghost Building's architect who started the original Gozer cult, who resembled a pale, slender, unremarkable man in a business suit. I thought that would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They worked that character into the dumb sequels, so
yeah,
yay. Another script change, according to Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis in the DVD commentary, in Dan Aykroyd's original rough draft of the movie, the story was going to take place in the future, and teams of Ghostbusters would exist everywhere, like paramedics and firefighters, thus basing the Ghostbusters HQ in a firehouse. According to Reitman, such a film would cost at least $300 million in 1984 dollars. Harold Ramis was brought in to rewrite the script.
Damn.
So, yes.
God damn.
Jesus smart.
We're gonna need a rewrite here.
Now here comes some trivia that's going to explain exactly why this is so exactly why this movie is so in the culture. This is Columbia Pictures' highest grossing film of all time when adjusted for inflation.
Damn.
And this was the highest grossing comedy of all time until Home Alone came out.
Damn.
Wasn't that? I mean, Home Alone came out what, 1990?
Was it 90? I thought
6
it was
years.
Yeah, but I mean, these are
6 or 8 years.
But also, like, think about how fucking much money that movie made. Like, clearly, these are big. This is like one of the biggest movies of all time. At least
sure.
Let's see. This is one that's going to cross over to our next review.
Whoa.
Harvey Comics, creator of Casper, sued the producers, claiming that the ghost in the logo was too close to the Casper character Fatso. The court ruled against them, stating that there are only so many ways to draw a ghost. I would take issue with that logic, but whatever.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I read about the ad libs. Let's see. They turned the fake commercial in the movie into a real commercial with a 1-800 number that people called in the middle of the release so that they could drum up more interest as things went on. Slimer was never really used as a name until the cartoon. Before that, he was just called Onion Head. Yeah.
Okay.
Onion Head. Apparently he smelled of onions in the script, but they didn't cut out every reference to that. Let's see. Is there anything else worth talking about here? No, I think that's probably about it. We got to move things along. So
Okay, cool.
that's it for trivia.
We're gonna stick a pin in Cooter of the Week, and we'll do all three movies at once at the end of the show. So let's go ahead and jump into movie number 2. We're talking about Casper, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Ooh, Juice, this is your baby. Run the show.
Yes, I do not have this Korean box, unfortunately. I'll look for it, though. If I find it, I'll buy it. But I don't have it. So this is what I have for back of the box. Step into Whipstaff Manor, where a friendly ghost named Casper haunts the halls, longing for companionship. When Dr. James Harvey, a paranormal expert, and his teenage daughter Kat move in, they discover that the house is more than just eerie. It's alive with adventure.
Ooh.
That's all I got.
Solid.
There you go.
So yeah, this is came out in 1995, and so yeah, I've been pushing this one for a long time. Would you boys recommend people check this out, Bob?
Yeah,
Kick us off.
This is a hearty recommend for me. I fucking love this movie. I fuck with it pretty hard. Big nostalgia glasses for Bob on this one. Saw it in 95 when it came out, and had it on VHS. Watched it like a million times. And this is definitely family friendly. There's no ghost fucking in this, but there's like some, some flirting, I guess you could say, some ghost flirting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very fond of it. Recommend, check it out.
Cool. Randy, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
I think this movie, in the exclusive domain of Halloween films for families, sure, yes. Outside of that, I'm not particularly fond of it, and I definitely don't have huge nostalgia glasses for it. Yeah, it's fine though. I liked it better this time than the last time I watched it, which I watched last year for the first time in like a decade, and I was like put off by a few things that I was a little bit less put off by the now, just having expected them a little more, I guess.
Good.
But yeah, not a hearty recommend for me outside of the Halloween season. In that season, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Juice.
Yeah, this is big nostalgia glass for me too, and I'm gonna try to keep that in check. But this is one of the few. I mean, I know it seems like I have a long list of things that I watch every year, but I mean, this is truly this one. Hocus Pocus, Over the Garden Wall. Those are like staples for ones I watch like every fucking Halloween. I also saw it as a kid. I have a picture of me and my family very young at Universal Studios when they had the Casper display up. They had it up there like for several years, like the Whipstaff Manor and stuff you could go in. So, yeah, I really like this movie a lot, and I think it's a good one for families, like for young kids watching. I think they'll really enjoy it and get into the spooky season. Not too scary for them, and yeah, I think it's fun. So yeah, I would recommend.
Cool.
There you go.
Mostly a recommend across the board.
Yeah, mostly a recommend. Solid recommend.
All right. Well, yeah, check out Casper from 1995. We're going to be spoiling the shit out of the movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Juice, do you have the plot synopsis?
I have some plot. Here we go.
Yeah. Have some plot. Some. Not all.
Okay.
Some.
All right. Here we go.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
A bitch named Kerrigan inherits the dilapidated Whitstaff Manor from her late father. She's back. Well, she's just arriving at this point, but she then discovers a secret message revealing that there's a hidden treasure within the mansion. When she and her assistant Dibs, or her assistant, I don't know, his close personal friend Dibs.
Is he a lawyer?
Yeah, we'll get into that. Well, yeah, we'll get into that. are scared away by the resident ghost, Casper, and his troublemaking uncles, she hires Dr. James Harvey, a paranormal therapist, to rid the house of the spirits. Harvey moves in with his teenage daughter, Kat, who struggles with her father's obsession with trying to communicate with her deceased mother. Inside Whipstaff, Casper, a friendly but lonely ghost, is eager to make friends and immediately takes a liking to Kat. As Kat settles in, she befriends Casper and they grow closer. Casper reveals his tragic past, that when he was a young boy, he died of pneumonia, leaving him a lonely ghost with unfinished business. Dr. Harvey attempts to deal with the ghostly trio, who cause chaos and have little wacky antics. Meanwhile, Kat and Casper discover a secret laboratory built by Casper's inventor father, containing a machine called the Lazarus that can bring ghosts back to life. Casper hopes to use the Lazarus to return to the living. Kerrigan, still after the treasure, becomes a ghost herself, but is tricked into crossing over to the afterlife, and she blows up. In the final act, Dr. Harvey accidentally dies during a drunken encounter with the ghostly trio, but is saved by the Lazarus machine. Casper selflessly gives up his chance to become human so that Dr. Harvey can stay with Kat. The film ends with a sweet Halloween party at Whipstaff Manor, and Casper is able to temporarily be human thanks to Kat's mother, who is an angel ghost at this point. He is Devon Sawa, and he dances with Kat, fulfilling his wish to be close with someone. However, he soon becomes a ghost again, scares all the kids away, but remains friends with Kat and her father as they, I guess, decide to live in Whipstaff forever. The end, Casper. Woo.
Hell yeah.
All
5 stars, no
right.
notes. Roll credits.
Yep.
Done.
All right. True. It's time for a Rotten Tomatoes. This house, I love the design of this house, and to have a Halloween party in this house would be fucking amazing. But also to this little town, Friendship. It's in Maine. It's got some great autumn vibes as they're coming into town, and then the way like the kind of school's decorated and stuff like that. When she's walking to school, it's just it's got great autumn vibes. It's really great.
Yeah, that the autumn vibes and the how, like the set and just the sets in general, like all the settings in this movie are like the highlight for me, I think, above all things, because they are quite Halloweeny for one thing. They're definitely quite fall, and man, like they just put a lot of production value into just every nook and cranny of this place. I'm a sucker for a haunted house that's done well in a movie or a show or whatever. Like there's a lot of good ones out there. There's a lot of not so good ones out there too. This one stands pretty high in that ranking, I think. Bob,
They built this the set of this house just for this movie, which I thought was kind of mind blowing because like it's like a kids comedy to put that kind of money into it, and also like the digital effects used to make these ghosts at the time were impressive. They're dated, but at the time definitely very impressive. So they put a lot of money into this. There's a lot of like names in this movie as well. There's a lot of like random cameos that they had to pay for. Just the money they put into this is kind of mind blowing. Didn't they use this house for like a Backstreet Boys music video? Okay,
Backstreet's back.
Yeah.
That's part of trivia, Bob. Thanks for blowing out my spot. That's cool. Whatever. That's fine. But it was Backstreet's back.
Everybody.
I think this is a great like gateway horror movie though. I know we talk about that on occasion and like how important it is, and like it's sort of like a classic haunted house tale, but it's got like a comedic hook. The ghost is kind of friendly. It's not really all that scary, and it's also still dealing with like the theme of like loss and grief and dealing with the loss of a parent or something that eventually you're gonna have to deal with in real life. And it does actually have like an emotional hook as well as like the comedic spooky hook. I think it's got kind of everything you want out of a gateway horror movie, really.
I think it's really good for kids just as a film, even like separate from having a fun film for kids for Halloween. But like for kids, it's got a great villain. Kerrigan's such a fucking bitch. And she's so clearly a bitch. And so, but
it's clear to see.
But to start
I think
off,
anyone
The treasure map. Oh, you got this treasure in this house. You got this awesome looking house that has hidden walls in it and a little machine that brushes your teeth and shit like that.
The gadgets are awesome.
They got like some Pee-wee shit going on in this.
Yeah.
You know? Like
the roller coaster chair
stuff.
and all that shit. It's great.
Like this and like Addams Family are like pretty peak like haunted house setups, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even the standpoint of the girl, I like how they ground the daughter a little bit more, because in the way that some kids like kind of deal with grief, especially when, you know, a parent like that, where the other parent is dealing with the grief, but you kind of feel like you have to be an adult in some kind of ways. I mean, she's pretty grounded, her dealing with some aspects of like, you're not going to find mom, dad, you know, like this kind of realization. And then like them not having money and her being like, oh, I want to go buy a costume. He's like, I don't have any money. She's like, I'll figure something out. And like kind of finding a friend, and her little interview that she does about like, hey, like I'm like going to a new school. Can you not like fucking bother me and shit like that? I just think it shows a lot of things from a really good kid's perspective that I think just in general makes it a good film for kids, on top of like the comedy and, you know, this other stuff that's going on. But just a lot of the themes and like sets and beats of the story, I think just work really well for kids.
Yeah.
So like when I went back to watch last time, I was struck by a couple of things, as I recall. One of which is the amount of cameos in this thing. And I just like, it felt like they were really like, this is in the wake of fucking Robin Williams and Aladdin, basically like completely changing how major studios dealt with fucking with adult humor, not adult humor, but you know what I'm saying, like humor aimed towards more adult people that know these characters and things like that, but also like integrating it in, but it's not encapsulated by one magnanimous, insane character actor who can just do that and just improvs. They're trying to like write in improvs like a Robin Williams thing. That's what it felt like to me last time I watched it. And I think it's like, it bothered me. You know what I mean? It felt like, I don't know. It just felt like I know that they can't do, nobody can do Robin Williams. Only Robin Williams can do Robin Williams. You know what I'm saying? And it felt like them trying to make that happen in the writing itself, but it felt cheap. It felt kind of like when you see like that same sort of thing attempted in like latter day Shrek movies and things like that. It just felt like kind of like hollow.
But to be
like
fair, that only happens twice, and they're very short scenes that don't really have any impact on anything else.
There's a few times that they do it. I couldn't list them for you.
The time that,
there's some
well,
two big
having
ones.
seen this a lot, it's the one is where they're inviting people in to get rid of the ghost, and they literally have a Ghostbuster come in. So that's
Aykroyd,
that's one scene. That whole scene though, even like with 3 different people coming in, is legit like 1 minute in total time.
Well, they do an Exorcist, and his head turns around, and he's got like the green puke on him, and then they do Aykroyd, and then the construction crew.
Construction, that's it. So, and then it's when the ghosts go into Dr. Harvey, and so
mouth.
you have
Dangerfield,
Clint Eastwood, and Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is one of them too. And that's it. And that is,
I like it.
There's
30 seconds,
I don't
maybe,
but
but
that's
it.
I think it's.
You just don't like it.
It felt pandering to me. Like, and like I was less bothered by it this time now, like knowing that was there, because the first when I was remembering this movie from when I didn't know who those people were. So that was not an issue for me before. It was just, oh, they're making spooky things happen to his face, and he's saying weird things. Ha ha ha. And that was it. But like that bothered me or whatever a little bit less this time. It isn't that like that much runtime that they're doing it that hard, but there's comedic beats in this thing that are clearly geared towards adults. Like the conversation between Harvey and his wife later on, there's some like comedy they insert there that's like, I don't remember what the lines are, but you gotta let her do this. Like, I know. Like, it's like parental humor and things like that. That just like, it's not really like cameo stuff. It just felt like, I don't know, they were trying to like bridge that gap, and it just didn't really resonate for me at all. I think that like there was something else that I was going for, and I've completely lost it now. That was the second point. I should have started with my first one, but I don't know. There's and like the way that Christina Ricci, and I'm a big Christina Ricci person. Like I like most of the things she's in. I think her performance in this is fairly good, but the writing of it struck me in kind of like a Juno sort of way, where it's like maybe a little pithier than a kid should be speaking. Like in general, it just didn't hit right. I don't know. The thing is, like, I don't have. But you
love Juno, Randy.
It's your favorite.
I like
film.
Juno fine. It's my favorite
film.
I didn't know we were rewriting history today. No, like I don't know. It's like there's like a lot of little things I didn't remember that sort of like brought this down from like a childlike, not reverence, but at least somewhat like to something that more closer to reality. And I was like kind of dampered by that pretty bad last time. And this time around, I was a little bit lighter on it. I saw it coming, and I was like, okay, well, there's still some good stuff in here. The sets are like great. It's great, spooky season stuff. But you know, all that stuff. Like, I don't have nostalgia goggles for this. I really just don't. The only thing that I'll say that I took from this as a kid that I really stuck with me was the idea of unfinished business with ghosts. That line that they repeated ad nauseum, so it's no wonder it stuck. But like, that whole idea like really stuck with me, and like I don't know that it's inextricable for me from the idea of like the baseline ghost is like, they're hanging around because something is incomplete in their death. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. From their life in their death. And like, I like that as a concept. They hammer it pretty damn hard, but it's a kid's movie, so they kind of need to. That's fine. All that said, it's just this time around it was more enjoyable, but I still was bored with a lot of it. Like, I still just was not engaged. I had to fight myself out of playing Balatro while watching this, and
Randy,
that's not a good sign.
Oh, Randy, you're addicted.
Another like aspect that I think is sort of interesting about this movie is the idea of forgetting, like whether you're someone who's alive who has lost someone, and like as time passes you find it more difficult to remember certain aspects about the person that you've lost, and that's such a real thing, you know. Yeah, but on the flip side, the ghosts, when they die, like when Bill Pullman dies, he like comes back as a ghost, and he's immediately completely forgotten about having a daughter whatsoever, and she has to like remind him, and like it sort of like really drives home that idea in a way that it resonated with me in a very sad way. I mean, it's kind of, Bill Pullman as a ghost looks goofy as fuck, but like in that moment you feel for this girl. It's like, fuck, like she now has no parents, and like she's wrestling with that idea in sort of a goofy, cartoonish way, but like that's a real thing that just kind of resonated with me.
Yeah, well, it makes it even stronger because, that is played for more comedy. I mean, you do feel for Kat, but even the scene before that, I think it's really sweet. There are some problematic moments between the idea of like Casper and Kat, but there's some really good moments too. Yeah. And when she puts his room back together and he's remembering, that's such a sad scene. And especially talking about it feeds into the unfinished business too, because he drops this line of like, I stayed behind like because he didn't want his dad to be lonely. That's his unfinished business or whatever. He's stuck around with this, and it's just like, oh man, I don't know, that's a sweet sad moment, especially talking about like a kid's movie, like dealing with these types of like emotions and stuff like that. That's a shining moment for this film, I think.
Yeah,
you know, one thing that like it's similar to the Halloween tree for me, like the score in this, it's less so than that, less of a problem for me in this one, but it strikes as so much like it's kind of elevated. It's very, very, very like mid-90s blockbuster sort of soundtrack to me, and I don't really love it, especially because it evokes more Christmas movie to me. I don't know if you guys.
I did write that I kind of liked it in certain scenes. I said music is fun and bouncy.
I'm sure there were some scenes that like in particular that bothered me. I couldn't tell you which ones they are now, but like there were a couple scenes where I was like, man, this just feels like I'm hearing the Home Alone soundtrack and not a soundtrack to a Halloween movie. Like it just, I don't know.
Didn't strike me as Halloween-y for sure. That's
the thing. It's like it kind of deterred from what I thought was otherwise a really great Halloween setting. Like I want a little, like if they inserted a little more like Hocus Pocus sort of soundtrack or something, or just something a little bit more creepy, I would have been a little bit happier with that. So that was a little bit of a deterrent for me as well.
I also just kind of like the concept of a therapist for the dead. He was a therapist.
Yeah, same. A ghost shrink, like is how they bill him on the TV. It's like, the Ghostbusters, you got like these ghost exterminators, and it's just like, a generally kind of mundane job that you just slap like a paranormal bent on. And then it's like really intriguing. It's interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The same with this. Yeah. It's a different spin. But also too, his grief, just like he's, that's how he's coping with it. And he's doing his job or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I got hung up with the logistics on some of that stuff. And
Randy.
Like how can you say go around saying you're a ghost psychiatrist if you've never seen a ghost and don't know how they work, and you have to be taught it all at once now in this movie?
Randy,
and also
he misses his wife.
Well, I think that's a thing of like, I think I can justify that in my mind because he's obviously depressed and going through grief. He's moving his daughter around. He's acting erratically. So I think he's fallen into this realm of charlatan that truly believes what he's doing is
as a coping mechanism.
As a coping mechanism.
That's
that he's eventually going to find his wife. Yeah.
I just don't think that specifically, I think that could work. And I think that like I can logic myself into believing that, but I don't think the movie does a good job of telling me that.
Well, I think you have to rely on his daughter. And she does call him out. Like you're not going to find, like she kind of calls him on his bullshit. Like you're not going to find Mom. You're dragging me from city to city.
She does.
But yeah, I guess it could go further. Yeah.
The movie's a little afraid to make them two at odds as well, I think, because they want a more... They don't want to show kids being disrespectful to their parents, I think, in this family film. And also, like, I got hung up again on, like, you said about forgetting. That was actually a sticking point for me as well, because Kerrigan doesn't forget shit. Like, she's still on the warpath the minute she dies until the moment that she's, like, kind of tricked into realizing, oh, no, I got everything I wanted. Oh, no. That means that your business isn't done. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. That shit. In absence of the rose tinted glasses, things like that stuck out to me a little bit more than it sounds like it did for you guys.
Inconsistencies in the ghost law.
Well, also to be fair, if we're going to go with an inconsistency, Casper realizing that his unfinished business was to hang out with his dad so he wouldn't be lonely. Well, his dad's dead, so your unfinished business should also be done.
You can't
permanently unfinished.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so there is some,
Plus a half star for your boy Devin Sawa, though. At least we got that right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't have the need for that, but sure.
Romantic ghost moment. You get a little kiss this time,
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking weird, man.
Is it weird? I mean, because he's a real boy at that moment. At least
when he's the real boy, yes. When he's real, that's different. I don't they kiss when she's also, or no, they touch, I guess, and it's like, oh, you're cold. it's weird.
Randy, what a square, so vanilla.
I don't know.
It does have to be fair to Randy, it does have a little bit of tone. There are some kind of problematic.
It feels
tones,
weird as an adult watching.
The way that they express it is like, I've never done this before. Neither have I. Can you hurt me?
Right.
No, I can't. It is a little.
Can I keep you? Yeah, right.
It's a little weird
for a movie that also has some like adult level like content in it, like Clint Eastwood references.
It's got some lines that like you really would probably be said by teens in a more intimate moment, but as an adult and you're watching it, you're like, okay, well, this is strange.
Yeah, it's like, what are they actually trying to metaphorically depict here?
The fact that an adult wrote it that way and presented it that way is a little strange.
The thing is, like, even within the writing, it does hold up if you just look at it completely without that.
Sure, yeah.
So like that doesn't, like, those are things that you could say to a supernatural being that makes sense. It's just fucking weird. It's kind of Twilighty. It's a little Twilighty.
Yeah, it's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Can I keep you is also
but at the same time,
context.
to him being like, oh my God, there's a girl in my bed. At the same time, they do genuinely present it as this kid. He's a kid.
Kids, right. The "Can I keep you" line is a little creepy, but
I've got some trivia about that.
he's like so alone. I think he just wants to have a fucking friend. And like,
but
that's
possession
sad,
is a different
it
thing
is,
than friendship.
I do see the phrase.
I think it's supposed to be like whimsically cute, like oh, I found a cat. Can I keep the cat? Like that sort of thing. Like if they had done some
and
sort
her
of
name is
legwork where it's like,
Cat. I mean,
oh wow,
yeah.
if they had done some legwork with that and made like read his diary or something, it's like, oh, Dad got mad at me for bringing home another cat. I want to keep them so bad, like or like another animal. Like he's like obsessed with like taking in animals or something like that. Can I keep you? Might have a context that works, but it doesn't. Just kind of doesn't, and it doesn't land right for me.
There's one more scene too where like it just wouldn't be made this way today, thankfully. Like I think at the time affects just a couple scenes in that way, but when he's like dragging her out the room and she's like, Casper, no, and then it's just
lot,
like
dude,
and then and he's got her leg and she's like, no, Casper. But then the very next scene, the very next scene, it's like, this is so beautiful and amazing.
Sweet.
Thanks for bringing it. And it's like it is beautiful and amazing, but to
it's
get
apologetics.
her there,
it's fucked up. That scene is fucked up. Yeah.
I told you you'd like it.
Oh my!
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Oh my God! So yeah, there's some questionable moments here for sure. There was some.
It's weird to have a kids characters written by adults doing romantic things.
Yeah.
Especially when one of them is fucking CG. There's just too many layers of Uncanny Valley on top of it, I think. Go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
There was some discussion on the Slack about whether or not Casper's a cooter, which we'll get to that, but,
we'll get to that.
Put it on the back burner for now. But yeah, I think Christina Ricci does a good job. Bill Pullman, I think, is pretty funny in this movie. Actually, when he first sees Casper, that scream that he throws out.
You think he's bad?
Really?
I think he's flat.
Oh, like, flat. I thought you said bad.
But it's easy to understand why, like from a top down view, because he's in a fucking movie with cartoon characters. But like when it becomes very stark to me when he becomes a ghost, because his voice acting is so much less dynamic than the others, and it just it's not. I don't know. He works in a family film role, but he doesn't quite work in a comedic role for me. So
I think he works as the dad, I think he plays that dad role where he's kind of slightly goofy and, and cheesy a little bit in that role. Yeah.
It's just kind of lackluster to me. And like, I think his best moment is when he's drinking. Like that's his best performance in the movie. I liked,
he had some comedic beats, and also at the end when his wife comes back, that whole sequence. Maybe just because like of what is happening, I don't know that he's necessarily like acting his ass off in that moment. But that was just like such a sweet scene that always like stuck in my mind.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, Kathy Moriarty playing the big bad here. Kerrigan, the bitch is.
She's
back.
a great villain.
She's good. Yeah.
But yeah, okay, Dibs. So we were going to talk about Dibs. Yeah. There's something. He is her lawyer, but. Something else is going on.
She's pegging him, right? Like she's putting stuff in his butt.
Something is because he's like, but he introduces himself as like her close personal friend because Kat makes a joke about him, like, oh, his close personal daughter, and it's a weird. She treats him like complete garbage.
Yeah, that's a sub dom. Like she's putting.
But he also, when she dies. He also is very callous about it because he's like, oh, what a shame. She had my favorite sunglasses or whatever. Like, he also doesn't give a shit.
It's very hard to tell what's going on with these villains. And I think that, like, having a mustache twirling villain in a kid's movie is fine. But you've got kind of two, and they don't connect well. You don't have an underling the whole time. He's kind of bucking, but I
definitely think he's an underling for the most part until they're trying to kill each other.
But that's the thing is like it feels like I don't really understand. I just don't understand their dynamic. I guess
it is a little obscure. Yeah.
It seems like they have a business relationship and a personal relationship and maybe a romantic relationship, or he hopes so, like sort of thing.
Maybe they did
like
and it went south. Like,
I
don't know. Salty about it or something.
No.
But yeah, it's weird. It is just generally strange.
I do like fucking what's his dick? What's his name?
What is his dick?
What is Eric Idle? Eric Idle is always fun to see. Like I was happy to see him, and like he puts on a typically good performance for himself. But it's just like the motivations of that character are obscured by him needing to constantly being pummeled by one thing or another, and then eventually doing his snap thing, which is a good turn for him. That at least gives him something. But it's like I don't know. It just the rest of the things that inform that aren't really there or aren't clicking for me. Like if he had been in love with her and he was just kind of like the unrequited love and she like hated his guts sort of thing, that would be one thing. But that wasn't what it was, and it wasn't all business either because it seemed like she wasn't very wealthy or anything like that, or wasn't. I don't know. It's just very confusing to me their relationship.
Yeah,
and I don't know what he gets out of like terrorizing this family. So
money, I guess. But
money, yeah.
Yes. The uncles were like kind of funny. They had some funny moments. Sometimes they're just like kind of flat. Sometimes they're just a little cruel. I don't know, but they have like some decent.
I think they
moments.
work as the function that they're written to be. You know.
Yeah,
that's another one that like I agree. Like it's a lot more forgivable because they're like they're fairly one-dimensional characters. But
dude, that breakfast makes me hungry every time.
Yeah, it looks great.
So good.
Looks really good. Yeah. Another thing though, I would say too, I've said this before. I think Randy disagreed with me one time. So I was trying to be a little bit more objective when I watched it this time. For a film that came out in 1995, Casper and his uncles, I think, look really good still. Because there's not a lot of detail. The parts that I think look bad are when the dad becomes a ghost and when Kerrigan becomes a ghost, when they got fucking hair and shit, and they're like wearing their clothes. But when they're just floating white blobs or whatever, I actually think it's like for a movie that hangs its hat on 4 of its main characters being CGI from 1995, it doesn't bother me at all to watch it today.
Yeah, me either. It's hard. Maybe that is some nostalgia happening.
Maybe, yeah.
And I'm just so used to it. But I generally agree with that. Yeah, I think it doesn't bother me.
I think I definitely agree that like when they're trying to do a closer facsimile to a real person is when it definitely starts to fall apart. Like, this is too early in CG's lifespan to really not hit the uncanny valley immediately, even if they're doing it in a cartoonish way. Like they do cartoonify them, they do caricaturization. So it's not like creepy in that like fucking Robert Zemeckis Polar Express way.
Oh God!
People hate so much, even though that doesn't bother me so much.
God.
I don't know.
I don't like that shit.
A lot of people don't. It doesn't bother me so much.
Shit.
But I don't know. Like I think that Casper and his dad. I think that the thing I like about them is what their original design was. You know what I mean? I like what they look like as flat cartoon characters.
Yeah.
The CG of it doesn't really do it for me. I don't know if it's bad. I couldn't say with any confidence this particular year of 95 that this was very, very bad for the time. I don't think so. But it just, I don't think it really holds up to me now. I don't think, I think the nostalgia goggles are required for that, maybe.
Maybe so.
I think it's probably impressive for the time, technically, but like as performance and things like that, they're just kind of like, it feels like an Alvin and the Chipmunks movie to me. Like same sort of like S doesn't mesh.
There's still a moment of the kind of adult humor seeping in. There's this one that I wrote down when they're going through the very first scene where they're going through the dolphins at the lawyer when talking about the will, her dad is dead or whatever, and Dibbs says something like, Kerrigan, or she wants to know about the thing, but he says something like, he says a great gaping void in her life to fill the great gaping void in her life, and that shit cracked me because he's talking about the money to pay. I just had to write it down. I thought that shit was really funny. All right. Anyways, Bob, wrap it up.
Yep. Yeah. Time to land that plane. out of 5, let's go ahead and rate Casper. Juice, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the nostalgia is going to come through on this one. And I'm still trying to be, objective about it because I do realize that there's some problems with it. One thing that like we didn't really mention, to be fair about, is it could be maybe a little long, or like there's like little pieces where they're developing the friendship and stuff like that, but maybe about 10 to 15 minutes could have trimmed up to like keep it a little maybe leaner. It doesn't really bother me, but it's like an hour 45, and you probably could have got that to an hour and a half. But generally I think it's sweet. I think Christina Ricci does a good job, and I think that they write this kind of age well. It's teenager, but it's young, 13, 14, 12-ish. And I think they handle it well, especially from the aspects of the idea of losing a parent or death in general, the idea of like him explaining it's like being born backwards. It's just interesting, and the unfinished business and forgetting what it's like to be alive in some aspects, and the things that were important to you and your parents' faces. I can't remember my mom and stuff like that's all. I think that hits pretty well. It's also got some solid comedy mixed in for kids. It's not like bust a gut or anything, but it's pleasurable to watch. I think it's fun. The spooky vibes are great. The set is amazing. Like I said, it's one I always come to for Halloween every single year. It's one that I enjoyed as a kid and still can watch as an adult. With that being said, I'm going to try and stay somewhat objective, but I'm still going to give this one a 4 stars out of 5-ish. Oh, yeah. Let's let Randy go last this time. Okay. Bob, out of 5, where are you gonna rate Casper?
Yeah, definitely have the nostalgia goggles on for this one. So I guess take this with a grain of salt or whatever. But I think this movie is pretty successful in what it's trying to do, trying to be a family-friendly, spooky time Halloween movie, and it's doing that. Taking this character of Casper and like introducing a younger audience to like a haunted house movie in a pretty fun and light way. It's really not scary at all, but it does have the jokes landing, and like I find myself laughing fairly consistently at this, not like busting a gut or anything, but like chuckling along with it. Has the big time Halloween feels, with a party at the end with like the Dracula DJ spinning the digital underground, and like all these kids, which we didn't even mention, like the kids basically just tell this child, we're coming over to your house and we're having a fucking Halloween party. Like she did not invite them. That shit was kind of funny. There's like I don't know, the party scene is a lot of fun. The family stuff that's happening here, and like seeing this dad like wrestling with his own grief and sort of channeling that by way of his career and becoming this like ghost shrink is sad but also funny, and it's sort of like tackling these real life moments, these themes in a way that might be sort of a softball for a younger crowd to digest, and I dig all that quite a bit. Like I said, half star for your boy Devin Sawa in here for like 5 minutes maybe. Kathy Moriarty's funny. She's like a big time, way over the top cartoonish villain, and I dig that about her. All the random cameos I gotta chuckle out of, and maybe the effects are a little bit dated and it is a little bit long. And if you're watching this for the first time at the age of 36, you're probably not gonna fucking love it. So like take all that too. But
that seems targeted.
But yeah. But I think it holds up. I think it succeeds in what it's really trying to do, and it's a fun one for the Halloween season, especially if you got some young ones. So yeah, I'm gonna match Juice here with a 4 even. 4 stars out of 5. Randy, how do you feel?
Yeah, so differently. But I'll say I also am going to try and remain a little bit objective here, because I recognize that a lot of my like qualms in them come down to just strictly like things that are just sitting weird for me, and I can't find a lot of justification for hating them when I love other movies that do similar things. Like I forgive Hocus Pocus for a lot of the things that I don't forgive this movie for. Do you know what I mean? Like when the fucking witch who's been asleep for 100 years tells the kid to pull over, let me see your driver's license. You remember that scene? Like that always struck me as weird in that movie. I didn't like that, but I just don't think about that. So like I understand how that feels or whatever. And so I do want to give it the praise it does deserve. I think that, like I said earlier, the set decoration, the production value, they threw money at this thing, and it does show. I think that the CG for the time is probably fairly good. It's just like, it's really more of a question of character modeling and just, I don't know. Roger Rabbit had already come out, man, and that looked so like, those looked like those characters were actually interacting, and I just don't get that here. I wasn't in my 30s when I first saw this movie, but obviously I saw it a couple times as a kid, and it just really didn't stick for me. So like that's the subjective stuff that I'm trying to not rely on here. I think ultimately it's just got some things in it that just aren't my favorite, and that's really a matter of taste. So I do like the setting. I do like the acting from Christina Ricci. I do like Kerrigan as a character. I do like Eric Idle as a comic character in the show, even though I don't understand what his role really is, and that's one of the things that sticks against me. So I like those things about it. Just some of the like nuts and bolts of how the world works or whatever that they're leaning on to make this story happen, I'm a little bit hung up on, because I'm not so enchanted by the other things, and so I'm not as forgiving. I think ultimately this is probably a better movie than not, for what it's trying to do and for the audience it's going for. I think it's a 3 for me, like taking all things into consideration. I do think this is a good Halloween movie to like let your kids watch. I would not mind watching this movie with kids enjoying Halloween. Like that's kind of what I keep coming back to, is like, this is not a movie that I would like be like, oh God, I have to watch this fucking thing. It's not that. Yeah. So I give it a 3.
Right on. Cool. Well, boys, what's interesting is we think Casper is just as good as Ghostbusters with a 3.7 aggregate. Exactly the same score. That is
aggregates are rough.
That's wild. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to death.
All right, boys. So we're going to go over to Casper 1995, and on the Tomatometer, there are 42 critic reviews. That seems low. So we'll start with Randy, since he doesn't get to start often. Out of a hundo, what do you think, Randy?
I think it's going to be positive. I don't think it's going to be hyper positive. It's not going to be Ghostbusters positive. I think I will go fairly high though and do an 85.
85 for Randy. Robert, where are you going to go?
Yeah, this is tough. I have no idea what critics think about this, just generally speaking. I'll take the under, I guess. I'll just take an 80.
85 and 80. All right. Sticking pretty close, boys. Well, here's the thing, boys. Y'all aren't close. Nobody's close.
Oh,
but Bob's going to take it.
Oh, no.
The overall average is 52%.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That ain't
not so a little surprising, but not so surprising. Yeah, I really, I mean, the nostalgia goggles, I definitely see it, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to separate. I feel like it holds up well, but I guess you don't know when these are coming out and who's watching it and stuff like that. So
I don't know.
Fair's fair.
With the tomatometer, I'm sorry, Bob, go ahead.
Some like 50-year-old crusty critic watching this for the first time in like 2012 or something probably ain't gonna love it, Yeah.
And that's the thing is like a lot of these, like most reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are not from the year of release.
Yeah,
when they get past the 2000s. So I mean, it's a weird thing. It's a little weird that it's not higher because of that, in my opinion, because I would think that people reviewing it now would like have there. It has some kind of legacy, not like hyper positive again, but.
So just looking at the ones I can see just off. So 2010 is a rotten one. Positive 2022, 2020 is positive. So yeah, maybe there was this weird time. 2005 is negative. 2005 is negative. 2007 is negative. 2007 is negative. 2010. So yeah, maybe it's from it took, I don't know, maybe it took a little while, but everything like 2022, 20 is positive. So yeah, I don't know.
Gaining steam as a cult classic.
Yeah, it is. So
hell yeah.
Well, good for you fellers.
I get a hell skeet too.
Well, Bobby, you gotta claim it yourself. That's your thing.
Skeet.
You gotta claim it.
I've claimed.
Come and claim it.
All right, let's hop over to the what is this thing called? Popcorn meter. Yeah, popcorn meter. This one has a lot, 250,000 plus ratings on the popcorn meter. God, that looks so stupid. It looks so clunky. Popcorn meter. Stupid. We'll let Bob go first. So fucking stupid. These imbeciles.
That's too damn bad!
Yep.
Pieces of shit. Bob.
Oh my.
Whew. The bitch.
Let's talk more about this family film.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fuckload. It's got to be higher. It's got to be higher than the critics. How high am I going to go? I'll do the comedy number 69, please.
All right.
69 around
69 dudes.
Forgot I still have to do the bumps. I feel like my logic always tends to lean towards, the people that are on here are probably people that want to gush about this movie. So my feeling is I'm going to stick with my original guess of 85 and just see what happens.
Don't want to go with the boys, huh? Okay, that's fine.
That's y'all's thing.
A slap in the face.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, so today it looks like we're going to be sweeping some skeet because again, 50%.
Damn.
Is the overall score lower than the critics, just slightly, but yeah.
Right.
Oh no,
I feel a little validated. I won't lie.
Casper,
Oh,
no.
Look what they did to my boy.
My boy.
Oh, my boy. So, okay, also here's this critic consensus. This feels okay. A meandering, mindless family movie that frequently resorts to special effects and transparent sappiness. Well, that seems harsh.
Transparent.
I think the sappiness part is on point.
A meandering, mindless family movie. I mean, mindless. It's got.
I don't think mindless, but I think sappy is an appropriate.
Sappy, yeah.
It's a little sappy, but
that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
fine for a family film, I think.
Yeah, for a family. I mean, what family movie's not sappy? Like, I don't know.
This dude needs to eat my butt.
Okay.
You must claim it, of course.
Oh yeah, that's a hell skeet. Sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
We're sweeping.
Some negatives. A fairy tale with the soul of a rerun.
The soul of a rerun. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's nothing for this run. Like it's just blank. That's it.
Right.
I can't see anymore. Some of them are just.
I just went to look at the user rankings, and here's a half-star review. What family did Brad Silberling have in mind when he attempted to murder? When he has attempted murder, deaths, and continuous cursing as main sources of humor. Continuous cursing.
Oh, she says
continuous.
One to the bitch is back. Yeah.
I don't remember.
That's the only one that sticks out.
That's the only one I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuous. All right. Well, Cool.
love
Is there trivia on this one?
Yeah, we got some trivia, boys.
Ooh, let's do it.
Oh, okay.
It's totally time for trivia.
Your boy might be a little tired.
What? Okay, so I didn't double check any of this. So, IMDb. Here we go. The town of Friendship, Maine is the name of a real village in Mid-Coast, Maine, near Camden and Rockport, where scenes from the movie were actually filmed. So there you go. If you want to relive Casper, head on up to
was it
Maine.
filmed there?
Damn.
It says where scenes from the movie were filmed. Not necessarily that the movie was filmed there, but scenes
Maine
from
keeps
it.
coming up, dude. Mikey was just in Maine. Shouts outs to Nicole from Light and Shadow. She was just in Maine.
Yeah,
it just keeps
Bangor.
coming up. Yeah, I gotta get my ass.
Might
to
be the
Maine.
last place in
I've
America
never
with
been to
actual
Maine.
fall.
Yeah,
Me neither.
yeah. It's implied in Dr. James Harvey's possession scene by the three ghost uncles that the three cameos, Clint Eastwood, Rodney Dangerfield, and Mel Gibson, matched the personalities of each uncle when they were alive, which I always thought as a kid, not knowing who these people were. That was the first thought that came to my mind. It's like, oh, this is what they look like when they were alive. Did anybody else think that when they were kids? That's what I thought.
I really didn't. That's what
I always thought.
Though. Who's Stinky? Like, what are you saying? Mel Gibson's Stinky?
So
What are they doing?
Stretch is linked to Clint Eastwood. Fatso is Rodney Dangerfield, and Stinky is Mel Gibson.
Yeah, but why?
Take that,
would
Mel.
make sense?
I don't know.
Mel, you smelly bitch. Take a shower,
also,
Mel.
so
Smelly Mel.
spinning off that one, in the mirror scene, Dr. James Harvey was going to transform into also Steven Spielberg. Spielberg filmed the cameo, but it was cut for pacing reasons. Spielberg was relieved, feeling he was a terrible actor.
That's probably why they really cut it, because he fucking sucked. But
Probably.
didn't tell him that.
A deleted portion of the attic scene involved Kat coming across an old photograph of Casper's uncles, Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky, when they were all still humans. This was featured and shown in the storybook released alongside the film. There's some special storybook thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a kid's book tie-in thing.
Yeah,
I have an Ace Ventura's book that had just like some pictures from the movie in the middle section.
Ace talking out of his
Sometimes they're just
asshole
production
at your face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was family friendly back in the day.
Assholes. As we said before, the house that was used for Whipstaff Manor was also used to film the scenes from the Backstreet Boys music video, Everybody, Backstreet's Back. Most notably in the ballroom scene sequence from the music video. Okay, we talked about this a little bit. So Devin Sawa said in a 2016 interview that people ask him all the time, if he ever uses Casper's pickup line, "Can I keep you?" He replied, "I haven't said those words since I shot Casper. Never, never. I'm very shy about stuff like that, so I don't think I could have ever mustered up the courage to use that kind of pickup line. But I get it at least once a day, at least,
Holy
especially
shit.
on Twitter, or someone will tweet me the video like I haven't seen it before. Then he says, it's cute, and I don't believe that. I don't think so. At least once a day. Yeah, you dumb pieces of shit.
God, I was a child.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in 2016, the movie's 20 years old at that point.
I don't even recognize him in this. Like,
leave it.
Leave my boy alone.
I'm a Final Destination Sawa boy.
Idle hands, Sawa boy.
Yeah.
So this Whipstaff Manor was actually, so they didn't want to design it like a classic 19th century Victoria style, Victoria style design. So it was based off, and Randy, you probably know a little bit about this, some architect named Antoni Gaudi. Is that his name? A 19th century modernist architect. I thought Randy would know. A 19th century modernist architect who apparently has
looking ignorant.
Well, so apparently he has there's a very similar style house that he built that's like this, but it's in Italy. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so that's
the
cool.
floor of it reminded me of the Yellow Brick Road because of that spiral thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like,
so there's a couple
the
things.
Munchkin Village Yellow Brick Road part. Yeah.
Whale jaw balconies, painted diamond tilting, the mirrors, dragon scale roof. Yeah, it goes into detail of all the stuff that they kind of copied: stained glass, the woodwork, the organic shapes. But yeah, so that's cool to know that there is something similar out there. We need to raise some. We need to raise some money, and that's going to be the new Straight Chilling House, boys. We're all moving to Italy. It seems like here we go.
Dude,
Whip staff, here we come.
Be fucking sick.
Not if I can rebuild the Clue house first.
We'll have a portion that's half whip staff, half
Clue house.
God damn.
Dude, I think I'd take whip staff, honestly. That shit's
pretty fucking badass.
that shit's
looking.
Dope. Clue's great and all,
Clue is
but
pretty
whip
great.
staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
come
leaning
on now.
Clue. I'm leaning Clue.
What?
I'm going to always lean Clue because the thing is, like, Clue isn't done up for Halloween. If you did it up for Halloween,
Oh, boner alert. So,
Well, most of whip stuff wasn't done out for Halloween, most of the film, but that's
It
fine.
is.
Okay.
that's fine. That's
I mean,
that house
sure,
is not.
okay.
The house was not completed, and then it just had cobwebs everywhere.
That's fine.
Okay. That's, I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Cool. Is that all the trivia you got there, Juice?
Yep, that's all the trivia I picked out.
All right.
All right, let's jump into our third film of the evening, which is The Others, and we're kicking it off with The Back of the Box.
What's on the back of the box?
Oh, and Bob, you got this box. The Others. Anything special about that box? Is it a DVD, old school? Or is it new,
Criterion
updated?
put this out on
What?
4K last year.
Really?
Actually, it
Oh,
might have been.
that's
I
this
didn't
year.
know that until I saw, like, they have the Criterion logo at the front of it now, and the Janus films and all that stuff
Yeah.
on streaming too.
Huge
I had no idea that they had
Janus
adopted
films. Yeah.
it. Yeah.
My
Loose
boy,
Janus
you,
films.
it's really moving up in the world.
Yeah, but this is on DVD, Blu-ray, now on 4K. It's streaming. It's everywhere. You can find this very easily. This came out in 2001, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. Written and directed by Alejandro Amenabar, and this stars Nicole Kidman, Christopher Eccleston. Who else is in this? Alakina Mann, Fionnuala Flanagan. That's a hell of a first name. Fionnuala. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of other folks that I'm not going to butcher their names.
Just the Anula.
Just that one, yeah. Plot synopsis brought to you by Criterion is as follows.
Whoa.
Boy.
A remote manor, hushed candlelit atmosphere, and shivery supernatural menace. With his first English language feature, Chilean-Spanish writer-director-composer Alejandro Amenabar resurrected the classic Gothic chiller to create a ghost story of uncommon emotional resonance. Nicole Kidman stars in a World War II-era mother whose imperiousness masks a terrifying pain. This is small type. I'm sorry, guys.
Imperiousness is such a Criterion-ass
I
fucking
know.
description.
As she keeps her light-sensitive children enshrouded in darkness on her country estate. The arrival of 3 new servants punctures her insular world and seems to disturb the balance between the living and the dead. With each stunning twist and turn, Amenabar immerses us more deeply in a realm haunted not only by spirits, but also by guilt, trauma, and repression.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
What a fun romp. Doesn't that sound so fun to everybody?
Oh,
That's so delightful. Yeah. That is well past snobbery, that description.
That was a lot.
Pinky's out, boys.
When in doubt, I know we've seen this before, so I won't ask. But, folks, would you recommend everybody check out The Others? Randeezy, kick us off.
Still appreciate when you ask, Bob. Okay.
Yeah. I don't offer these things to just anybody. I would definitely recommend this if you're into the haunted house genre, if you're into classic, like the classic horror setup of a haunted house, like you Victorian ass looking shit. It definitely hits those marks. If you have any sort of affinity for House on Haunted Hill or Haunting of Hill House or any of those houses that are on hills that are haunted, you'll probably like it.
Perfect. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, this is another one. For all three picks, I kind of wanted to pick films that you could watch with the family. They're all somewhat kind of like gateway horror films. This one's definitely the most like adult style one, but I don't think there's anything too intense here. I mean, I think you could watch this with a reasonably younger audience, especially if they're like getting into horror. So.
I saw this in theaters actually. So
you were probably what, 10-ish?
Yeah, it was 2001. So 13? I was like
12, 13?
12.
Yeah, 2001. I would have been 12. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom and I went to see it, and it was great.
Yeah, and I think I think even a little younger would be. There's nothing crazy going on at what I'm saying. So yeah, I think no. Well, there is. Actually, there is.
Actually, yeah. Off screen, though.
Yeah.
Cowards.
But still, it's there. It's the implication. But yes, I would recommend people check this out. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
Damn, Ghost fucking in all these movies. That's
in all three.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah, I would recommend this like wholeheartedly. Yeah, this movie.
That was my whole theme, boys. That's why I chose these movies.
Ghost man, that wouldn't have been in a competition at all. You would have stolen the whole election with that title.
Ghastly
Ghost fucking
Ghouls
beats Ghastly Ghouls in any contest you can think of.
I had a ghoul-gasm the other day.
I believe it.
The spooky ghost.
All right, go put on the sheet.
The sheet.
God damn. There might be
some
deeper issues if that's happening.
Ooh.
I can't look at you.
I can't get off without the sheet.
We're not going to make the 70-minute mark with this sort of bullshit. So keep it rolling.
All right.
I can't do it. But yeah, I recommend the hell out of this. I saw this in theaters as well back in 2001. It was great. This is like just classic ass haunted house story. And yeah, it's like perfect for the season too. It really gets you in the mood for Halloween. Check it out. Hearty recommend across the board from the Straight Chilling crew, sounds like.
Sounds like Soju had some good picks, boys. All right.
Oh, don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back like that. That could.
I mean, I swear to God, you must be a contortionist to eat your own ass out that way.
God damn, that would hurt yourself. Holy shit, you're not that flexible.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I wish.
God in heaven. God damn. Oh man, we're gonna.
The dream is still alive, but it's hard to reach.
You know, nobody can toss your salad like you.
Nobody knows a salad. Your salad, like you.
Everybody likes their own brew. We're gonna be spoiling the shit out of the others, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
All right, we're back to old Bob for the plot synopsis. Classic.
We're back. The bitch is back. This is definitely one that you don't want to have spoiled for you. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend just hitting pause and watching the movie. So here we go. In 1945, Grace Stewart resides in a remote country house on Jersey, a Channel Island formerly occupied by the Germans, with her two young children, Anne and Nicholas, both of whom suffer from a severe sensitivity to light. Because of this, Grace keeps the home darkened with heavy curtains. One day, Miss Bertha Mills, Edmund Tuttle, and the mute Lydia arrive, all seeking employment. Grace hires them as a housekeeper, gardener, and maid, and she's pleased to learn that the three worked at the same house years prior. Anne claims to be regularly visited by a young boy named Victor, his parents, and an elderly blind woman. Grace believes this to be a fantasy, but after she begins hearing footsteps and disembodied voices herself, she orders the house to be searched, believing there are intruders inside. However, nobody's found. She then starts to believe maybe there are ghosts in the house, but that doesn't quite square with her Catholic faith. At night, Grace witnesses a piano playing itself and becomes convinced that the house is indeed haunted. She runs outside in search of the local priest to bless the house. While she's out, She finds her long-lost husband, Charles, whom she believed to have been killed in the war. Charles acts very strange and distant during his stay. He then insists that he must return to the front despite the war already being over. And then he departs. That morning, Grace awakens to find all the curtains in the house have been removed, exposing her children to harmful sunlight. She accuses the servants and fires them. That night, the children discover headstones in the yard that belong to the servants. They also find some post-mortem photographs of them taken 50 years ago during a tuberculosis outbreak. Grace discovers that the elderly blind woman is in fact a medium hosting a seance with Victor's parents, who have discovered via automatic writing that Grace, despondent after Charles died in the war, smothered her children with a pillow before killing herself. Aghast, Grace realizes that the others in the house are the living family. And that, like the servants, she, Anne, and Nicholas are all ghosts. Grace admits what she's done, but thought that God had spared them all when she awoke. Victor and his family move out because the house is indeed haunted. It goes up for sale again, but Grace ominously states that the house only belongs to them. Roll credits.
Whew. Those fucking poor servants don't even own this house in eternal death.
You're gonna work in death. Well, in limbo.
Spit shine my fucking shoes, dead person.
Go rake those leaves.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucked up. This is one that
a waspy Karen from her waspiness.
When I sat down back in 2001 in the theaters to watch this, and it started rolling like 5 or 10 minutes in, I leaned over to whoever I was with. It might have been Mike, our boy Mike, and I was like, "Dude, I bet they're all dead." And then they were all dead. Like,
well,
dude,
I mean, to be fair, this is 2001, 2
Yeah.
years after. This very much reminds me of The Sixth Sense and Shyamalan.
Yeah.
That's exactly
which is
what I
2
was
years
gonna say.
after. Yeah.
Like, this is like in the heyday of where like that movie was such a fucking insane mind blow. Like, not only did it like chart the course for Shyamalan's career for a while, but also like, you know, the twist became common nomenclature that everybody knew and every movie seemed to want to have.
Yeah.
And that was like the most well-known one. So like every fourth movie tried that or something very similar, it seemed like. I feel like this is the first movie I saw where that happened, and I was like, maybe they need to stop doing this for a while.
So it wasn't an impressive ending at the time because I guess you were sort of expecting something like that? Or like has the ending gotten better over time with that separation, or is it still kind of...
Well, I would say the only...
surprised, but
Yeah.
The only thing I remembered about this film, so I haven't seen it in a long time. The only thing I remembered about it was that ending. I like legit forgot the aspect of the keys and the locking of the doors and like the servants. Like all I knew was whoever's in this movie, they're actually dead and ghost. And it's a flip on its head. But I do think it is interesting to watch it from that angle, though, because it's just an inverse ghost movie. And so the ideas that we have about ghosts, about why did they act like that, or, you know, the opposite end of the seance, I do think that that's interesting, and it's fun to see, like, or imagine, for instance, when she goes into that one room and she's scared, and so she starts pulling all the white blankets off of the
sheets.
Yeah, the sheets off of the thing. So if you were in there or you viewed it,
yeah, it'd be terrifying.
From the other end, it would be terrifying because the sheets.
Yeah.
But on the other end, when you're from her perspective and you're like, I don't know if there's anything under that sheet. You know, even though I do know, but it's still it's an interesting fun after the twist. I don't know how much rewatchability it has after that second watch, but you know, it is fun to watch it after the twist.
It's like a serious take on Beetlejuice, where like they need a
That's what I was gonna say.
bioexorcist. Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I literally was gonna say, like, this is like, it has something in common with Beetlejuice. It's a movie about the ghost perspective of realizing they're ghosts and deciding to haunt, like, in order to protect their property. So like, obviously they're very, very, very different films in so many ways, but like that core conceit is the same. And like, it was very novel in Ghostbusters. It seemed like, I don't know if there are movies that predate that took that tack as well. I'm just not sure, and I don't think were too many of them even when this came out though, and it was definitely like so different as to be like almost an oblique connection. It seems like it's not readily apparent that these are. It doesn't feel derivative, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It does. In addition to that, as I was watching it this time, like something that I was kind of focusing on more is like the exposure to light, like these kids being exposed to light, and like how like very narrow-minded their mother is. Like if it clashes with her faith, like she just can't possibly believe it, and like her like quite literally and metaphorically like shielding them from light or like any sort of information, or like just like literally throwing them in a closet and closing the door. I thought that was sort of like an interesting, like, visual metaphor, I guess, like shielding them from the light, keeping them in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of a cool thing. That's a real like allergy that some people have too, apparently, which sounds awful.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, sound terrible.
That's fucking miserable.
It also, too, I don't know, the more, when I start to watch things like this at an older age, I start to think more about how reasonable, you're talking about how narrow-minded her mother is. And I start to realize like how kind of reasonable that is. But can like you imagine just the lifestyle of living out in the middle of nowhere and interacting with 3 different people, maybe like 5 or 6 max for a majority of the year, like just not having any type of society or interaction with society, or just, I mean, even if you grew up like that kid, or, in those types of situations where you don't live in a city, you live out in the sticks or whatever, that would fucking suck.
Yeah.
Some people like that, but that's not the case for her. And like it's not that like Nicole Kidman's character is pining for the big city or some shit like that.
No, that's not the point.
But she's clearly her husband being gone for so long and like presumably dead. Even then, they're like, she's just kind of like putting on a brave face for it. And like all
her
that
batteries died in the Sea-Doo vibes. So I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, she doesn't want to she doesn't deal with electricity. It's both self-imposed and also a requirement of her like dedication to the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like it's both obligation and self-imposed, and also that's what creates such great cover for the twist. Honestly, is like the only time she tries to leave is when things get really dire, and then it's. Honestly, like it's shocking to me to think about like not really understanding that a twist is coming at the moment where she runs into her husband in the fucking thicket of fog.
Yeah,
like
after the people say, "Oh, the fog won't let her go."
Oh,
they literally say the fog will stop her. Yeah,
it's like
but I mean, you could interpret that as like
she can't see,
just like she's not capable of getting through this thick fog right now, and that's the thing, is like everything is like pretty well concealed. It's just that it came so fresh on the heels of a movie that pulled the same twist for very different reasons. Like that, I think Rob and a lot of people did predict this. I didn't predict it, but when I saw it, I was like, that was cool. But I can do without another movie doing this for a while, and I don't think I've seen too many of them since. It's just like that. Sixth Sense is the movie where he turns out to be dead. It still is. Like, and though it's not, it is in the popular consciousness.
Yeah. This does have like a lot of really well crafted scares throughout it, though, to like help carry it through to that twist ending. And they're all very, very simple and like classic.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they're reaching for like low hanging fruit, but they are doing like, the sheet scares and like doors opening and closing on their own, and like the piano playing on its own in the distance, and like the lid being popped up. I think the biggest jump scare I can remember in this is like the little girl when she's wearing the veil. And what are you talking about?
She's an old lady.
I am your daughter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
which was like advertised. I remember that being like part of the
trailer. That was the big sting of the trailer. Yeah,
gotta
but
ruin it.
I think you're right though. Like if you describe any of the other scares to somebody just like in words, it sounds very tropey and
basic,
not interesting
Yeah.
and basic. But they execute it so well. It's kind of that thing of like the way the witch handles like witchcraft, where it's just taking it fully and like not taking it for granted that this is something that's kind of silly or hokey or whatever, taking it just deadly serious and allowing good actors to portray that seriousness and well written scenes to carry you through. Like, I don't know. I think it does a great job with all of that.
Yeah.
And again, watching it from that perspective this time, again, Bob mentioning the piano scene, that was a fun scene to imagine the inverse of.
Absolutely.
I'm going to play the piano. Oh, and then the door mysteriously opens. And then I go this way. The ghost goes this way. And then I do this. And then like, it's funny to think. It's really actually funny to think about the living scaring the ghost. Oh, I slammed the door because I'm scared. That scares the ghost. You know, it's funny that this like back and forth misunderstanding.
I recently have taken to watching these videos on YouTube. This is a little aside here. Watching these videos on YouTube before going to bed to spook myself a little bit, that are just like compendiums of urban explorers, like the spookiest urban explorer footage on the web, and it's like five like described clips or whatever, because that time of night I'm too scared to watch the real deal. But a lot of them are like these are people going into condemned buildings and things like that in the middle of the night by themselves and recording all kinds of shit. Some of it's like truly like dangerous and terrifying, like falling through floors and shit.
Holy shit.
Some of it, a lot of it, is like this situation where somebody's there and somebody's there sleeping, like they've made themselves their squatters or whatever. And it's that thing where it's like, it's the exact same situation where it's like two people who are not doing anything inherently, in my opinion, inherently wrong or anything. They're just kind of like, one person just wants to explore crazy buildings and one person is just trying to find a place to lay their head. But they don't know each other are there. And so when they encounter each other, they're just terrified and they'll like get into confrontations, and like the person that's living there will scream, and it'll like, it's just spooky as fuck from the perspective of the camera that you're following. But if you think about it from the squatter's perspective, somebody's coming into the place where you like the only safe place in your life. Like, I don't know. Like, there's some crazy shit to that where it's like it's a two-way street of terrifying. I don't know. It really struck me.
That's what makes it fun after the twist is gone, is, you know, seeing the other end and understand that ghost perspective. And it's fun. I mean, too, from the religious perspective, she is very religious. And I know specifically, too, Nicole has done this in a couple of her episodes on Light and Shadow about talking about limbo. You know, that is a religious aspect that is more reserved like for Catholics. I don't know if any other sect of Christianity kind of believes in limbo, but just like exploring that, because she does kind of go through it with the kids limbo. They do like the 4 different afterlives or realms of hell or something like that. I'm not familiar with those, but it's just an interesting aspect of like, oh, the fog keeps you here, and then the husband's there, but he can't stay, and he's like, I just needed to say goodbye to my wife and kids, but they're stuck and they have to be separated. It works well in the context of how their lives were, of like he left for the war and shit. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. When this movie starts, it begins with like there's like a quote about God creating everything or whatever, but the first like image you see is Nicole Kidman waking up in bed screaming, and like upon first watch you're like, she had a nightmare, but like knowing that she has killed her kids and then herself, like, and I guess she's just like, her spirit is slammed into bed and she just wakes up having done what she's just done. It like really like recontextualizes that opening sequence, and it at first might feel like a cheap jump scare. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting yelled at here or whatever, but like there's a reason for it, you know, that's pretty dark.
Yeah, for all we know, that's the moment she becomes an afterlife spirit.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
It could very well be. But it's spooky shit. And there is another jump scare too in that piano scene. Like the last thing that happens is, you know, she's like testing the squeaking of the door, and then the door slams and knocks her down or whatever. And that was a big jump scare. I don't know. There's some jump scares in this, but I feel like none of them feel cheap to me, which is always good.
No.
I definitely agree. The aesthetics, like like the choice of this house, like on this like remote island drenched in fog, and like leaves are on the ground. There's the old cemetery out front, and because these kids have this light sensitivity, like all the rooms are dark and they're just lit by candlelight, and it just sort of builds this like intense amount of dread and like just spooky ass atmosphere, and it just feels like such a classic horror movie when you're watching it. It's just got that
it
perfect
feels
flavor.
like another Criterion that I watched. What is it called? It's like it's like a Cary Grant movie. I want to say. I'm gonna look it up. But
Uninvited.
The Uninvited. Yeah. Which I didn't particularly love, but it's got like it's just that old Hollywood feel, but it is updated. Like it's not that they're just really like adept at capturing basically nostalgia for that, as well as it is like some nostalgia for like Victorian era shit in general. It's kind of interesting that it kind of hits those two things, both eras of which none of us were alive for. We just know primarily through cinema. So I don't know. I think that like the sets in this and everything, the way that they set up the house, and the house is both kind of understandable and disorienting at the same time. I love that about it. Like I think it's just really, really solid. It's not, again, like it's that Robert Eggers thing where they just take it seriously. It's not deconstructing anything about that kind of movie. It just is that kind of movie being what it's supposed to be. I really love that. I love when you can successfully just do a movie that's been done before in your own way without completely like sidestepping all the things that you might like sidestep to make it unique. You know what I mean? It just really lives in what it's living in. I also
think the kids do a good job here, which is not always the case. And specifically, I think what makes it work, going back and revisiting it and understanding the first time around of maybe like why you were successfully tricked or something like that, is I think the little girl, they set her up, she's kind of a bitch. For a little girl, but they set her up in a good way where she acts it off of, you're like, it's this little girl trying to pull something. Is she just being a bitch, or is something going on with this little girl?
She's a good red herring.
Yeah, she is, and she's like she's always got this shifty look about her. I just think the kids do. After the fact, but I think the kids do a good job.
Yeah, there's a great scare that the way that it's framed whenever Nicholas is in bed and like somebody touches his face. Yeah. But it's totally plausible that his sister's doing it because it's sort of off screen, and you're like, oh my God, like, is it a ghost? I don't know.
And that is a single shot panning from her sitting on the edge of the bed. Not a single shot for the whole thing, but from her sitting on the bed, panning over to his face after her request. And then it's just like, just from off camera, fingers, kid fingers, unidentifiable.
So simple.
It's just fucking
but
brilliant.
It's great, yeah. It's just it does what it does so well, but it's not reinventing anything, and it's not trying to really. It's just well crafted.
I like that little girl's character more and more every time I see it too. Like she's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but like throughout the course of the movie, you find yourself agreeing with her more than just about anybody else in the movie, or I do, because she's so on point about everything. Like the only thing like it hurts if when you still have the opportunity to believe that she might be doing it because you don't know what's actually going to happen. I think that it's probably easier to write her off as kind of shitty or whatever, kind of like just a piss taker doing her thing or whatever. But once you get that twist, man, it's just like, fuck, she's just a kid, man. She's just a precocious preteen kid. Like, I don't know. I kind of love her as a character, and
her questioning her mother is, you're just like, yeah, keep doing that, kid. You'll be all right. Like when her mom is talking about how if they were to deny Christ and get beheaded by the Romans, or like should they or should they not? They're like, yeah, we would totally deny Christ to save our asses. Yeah. And she's like, well, then you'd burn in hell for all of eternity. And like the little girl's like, we're supposed to believe all this nonsense, but I can't believe the house is haunted because I see things. Like
it's true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's also, especially knowing that the mom killed. See, that's something I forgot why they were dead. I forgot that the mom killed them or whatever. So even from that perspective, her self-righteousness, the whole like her being like, you would deny Christ. It's like, you killed your kids.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. You dumb bitch.
You dumb bitch. You dumb ass ghost.
You would do this.
What a maroon.
But yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty dark actually. I am glad that they didn't do, because they talk about how the mom ultimately shot herself. I'm glad they didn't do a kind of spin at the end where her head is blown out or something.
Her web
that would have been just
or something.
Yeah.
That's one step closer to Sixth Sense than they really should go. Like they're already doing so much.
Yeah.
That would be kind of low hanging
too,
fruit. That wouldn't feel as classy as this movie is.
Nah.
And like it's crazy. This is a PG-13 film, and like you said, Juice, it is accessible to kids, but it is not. I would not consider this a child-friendly movie necessarily. It's child accessible to the right child, but like,
not friendly for sure.
It's definitely not meant for kids. Like, and it's just interesting to see a horror movie that's PG-13 that isn't meant for kids. It's just kind of a unique thing. I think
it goes places that are like very, very dark and twisted. Like it goes hard, but like
Well, you also have to kind of think about it though too.
If you just from a
kid's perspective, if you're just experiencing it, it's not that bad. I mean, it does have the well set up jump scares, but like for a kid, that's kind of what you need. You don't need anything too gory. You don't need, it really is just setting up the classics. You're scared of the dark, or you're scared of the door opening, or these kind of things. There's nothing that's like too intense that a kid wouldn't be able to watch.
Yeah, you don't actually see the kids get smothered or anything like
There's
that.
No gore. And like that's key. That's key for child-friendly horror.
That towards the end where we get like the big reveal and we see that the old blind lady is actually a medium and she's like sitting at the table and doing a seance. And then like Nicole Kidman starts shaking the table saying, we're not dead, or like that
humans go! Go, humans go!
That whole scene is fucking great. I love the way the lady looks that's doing the seance, and like them like reacting to the table being shaken around. Like you kind of eventually see everything that you were describing, Juice, like being on the other side. It's a great reveal. I love that whole end sequence.
And Mama Stark is there.
Oh, I didn't realize her name is.
Oh, really? I didn't realize. Is that the mom?
Is the live woman. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well,
I didn't realize that either.
Her actor's what's the name? Yeah.
It's cool too. They added just some cultural things. This is probably the first time I was ever exposed to the idea. The pictures of the dead. The way that they're set up and those little lookbooks or whatever.
That stuck with me for a long time. Like I think that I first heard about it in the theaters watching this, and I've always just known that. And rewatching this every time, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I learned that here.
Me too.
It's fucked up, but it makes.
It's just a cool cultural. It's teaching you something.
Yeah.
But no.
I mean, we learned about that in art history class and photo history class and things like that. Like it's, you can't afford photos, you can't afford portraits unless like just any given time.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to hire an artisan to paint you. So, you take one last memorial photo.
Yeah. Before you say goodbye.
It's grim, but
it's
it
is
sense.
Fucked up.
It is what it is. Yeah,
I mean, we still have fucking viewings of people in funerals, so it's not like that different, truthfully.
Yeah.
It's probably better than that in many ways.
Yeah. That's true. Any other major points you guys want to touch on before we rate this thing?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing we didn't explore more, the husband.
Oh, yeah. Well, just the emotional core of it is like, people being torn apart by war, waiting without word, like waiting in isolation, all that stuff.
Him just like wandering through the fog, but he's like, I have to go. I had to say goodbye to my kids. I mean, is he stuck inside? I don't know anything about limbo. So is he stuck in limbo too, or was he just able to visit limbo?
And then after he said goodbye,
and then he's done.
Maybe, that
maybe
is probably how I would read into it, I guess.
Or maybe
I
he
kinda
was just
feel
like
like-
waiting in the afterlife and they've just recently died. So he was able
maybe.
to revisit, but
He was
now
waiting
he was
for
like
him.
waiting for them. But that because of their situation, they're stuck in this, so he can't stay with them or something.
I kind of
Maybe.
took it. Yeah, I kind of took it as like he's clearly like he's his metaphor. The thing he's standing in for is the traumas of war, like the traumas of going to war, the things that you carry home with you, that sort of thing. And he's like, even when he's home, he's lost. He's completely in a fog. And he can't really
Doesn't
function
feel
as a
comforted.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does want to be there for his kids, for his wife. Like he's upset by what he hears about the way she treated them and the incident and all that stuff. But ultimately, he's like, well, I came here to say goodbye. I said goodbye, and I don't think that he shuffles off the mortal coil or out of ghostdom from there. I think he just goes back into the fog because he's still experiencing that, like just like PTSD is. Like a lot of people come home and can't deal with their normal lives, and they just go off into obscurity because they can't deal with the people they used to know.
Yeah.
Like that's not completely unknown. That's just how I took it, and I could be like completely full of shit with that, but that's just the interpretation.
You're full of shit with that. Completely.
Really? He's just a ghost, okay?
It's just a ghost.
Just
Come
a ghost
on.
looking to get laid.
Get the sheet, honey.
Can't get off if you don't get the sheet.
It's the only thing
You
that
get
works.
the sheet, I get the lube.
Oh God.
That's ectoplasm.
It's holy water.
It's extra thick holy water.
Toast!
Cool. All right. Well, let's go and rate this thing there, fellas. Out of 5, Randeezy, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel?
Yeah, I have this like memory of this movie from being a kid. I really liked it as a kid, and then I think that watching Scary Movie 3, where they do a bad joke where it's Michael Jackson underneath the veil instead of a little an old lady or a little girl, I think that put it in my head as like a relic of its time period when it's not. This is a pretty timeless movie, and when I've rewatched it since like adulthood, the couple of times I have, including this one, my affinity for it has grown. Like you said you don't know if there's any point viewing it after seeing it twice. I think there is. It's not something you want to watch frequently, not at all. Like you want to be able to forget some of the details and let them like wash back over you. I don't think I've seen this movie in like 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. And before that, it'd been even longer. I think that's a good spread, and it allows me to like retake it in and notice things that maybe I didn't before. I don't know. I think it's got a lot of rewatch value. I think it's very good at being exactly what it wants to be. To Rob's usual metric of is it successful at what it's trying to do? I think hell yeah, man, absolutely. I think it's great entry gateway horror. It's not for the purposes of Halloween. It's not particularly Halloweeny, but I'm not going to gauge on that too much. I just really love this movie. I'm glad it got a Criterion release because I feel like that validates a movie that otherwise like it just comes from an era where we don't really think about for like highfalutin elevated horror movies. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like this movie a lot. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
4.5 from Randeezy. Your boy Candy Randy. He's on a roll. Juice. How do you feel?
Yeah, I like this movie. I liked revisiting it. It had been a while. And while it's not Halloween specific, it definitely brings the vibes. You know, like we said, just feels kind of straight up classic. It's spooky. You're in the dark a lot of the time. A lot of the classic kind of fears, you know, isolation, the dark, just the haunted house. Yeah, it's good. I like the fog. I like, cover up the gravestone with the leaves, and then they're uncovered. And kids are like, they're dead, and they're running. It's just got some fun, spooky moments, classic spooky stuff going on here. Yeah, it was a little slow at times. It's an hour 45, and it's slow paced, and so I could see, you know, maybe losing a little patience with it or whatever. But when it does bring the heat, when it's bringing the scares, they feel classic and it's still effective, but not cheap. I think that everybody's doing a good job acting. Everybody's bringing it, and it's interesting too. It's interesting to think about philosophically, and it's got some interesting cultural things with the photos and stuff, and the husband coming in, the mom killing him, and then the inverse on the haunted house of they're the ghosts. It's just fun to think about and experience. Maybe just a little slow, maybe just a little long, but nothing too bad. I don't know about rewatching this, like when I will. I mean, I would be fine to rewatch it. I just don't know if I'm going to be like craving to rewatch it. So I'll put it at 3.5. Think it's good. It's good. Bob, out of 5, where are you going to put this one?
I think I'm hotter on this one than you boys are. I think this is like a modern classic, honestly.
Wow. Okay.
I think when it comes to a classic haunted house movie, like this really, for me, delivers just about everything that I could ask for. I don't know. It is a little slow, to be fair, but I think it is kind of common with movies like these really like sort of classy haunted house type movies. They do often feel kind of slow, but that doesn't, I don't know that it bothers me. Maybe it's just an expectation I have or something. But it doesn't necessarily bother me. I think the scares are there. The look of this house, the design of it, just the overall atmosphere of this little island in the middle of nowhere, the potential threat of like Nazis being around, which we don't ever really see and doesn't necessarily come into play too much, but just like it also has that kind of like Del Toro thing where like it's like sort of a small insular story, but there's always like a backdrop of war, like in Pan's Labyrinth or The Devil's Backbone, or like a lot of his movies do that. It feels kind of similar. The way they utilize the kids having this sun allergy, I think, just adds to the spookiness with the everything being lit by candles. I just love all that stuff. The way the scares are just artfully crafted. And even the jump scares are like so earned by this, and the rug pull at the end where you find out like they're actually the ghost, and it's just like it's very smart, and like it just does so much with not a whole lot. It's really not trying to reinvent the haunted house movie. It's trying to just be a very, very good one. I think it is a very, very good one. I don't know what I could want more out of it personally. I'm gonna get crazy here, and I'm gonna give this a 5.
All right.
Whoa.
I respect that.
I'm going nuts.
Almost. I picked it and I'm the lowest, but I still like it.
Yeah. I might have a little nostalgia for it, but also like it does hold up, I think. Like
it does.
I agree.
It's good shit.
Doesn't feel like for a movie. To be fair, for a movie from 2001, it definitely doesn't feel like a lot of this stuff from that era.
Yeah, for sure. So with that,
again, this came out concurrent with scary movies. So I mean, probably Austin Powers sequels were happening at this time. Like, this was a very
Gothica.
Fear.com,
nothing
shit like
about
that.
Fear.com, Ghost Ship. Remember Ghost Ship?
Yeah, that
Ghost
sort of
Ship.
like.
I
and,
remember the opening
love them
scene.
or hate them, those movies have a very distinctive place and time flavor, and this one's place and time is not the one that was made in. So that's what makes it like work, like on a level that goes beyond what those do.
Damn, I feel I went too low now. Goddamn.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to change it to a 5 real quick, you can.
No, God, God forbid.
Bob's perfectly willing to change the ink when it's in his favor.
Well, with my 5, that's going to put our aggregate at a 4.3.
That's solid, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That's fair. Let's go and jump over to our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to death.
Bob, you're running this shit.
Oh, dude, I literally forgot. I was waiting for Randy.
I realized you turned, and I was like, well,
it's
I'm
not
just going
a
to give him
standard
up.
slow Randy situation. It's a whole other thing.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Bob. Fucking idiot. Oh, Bob. Oh, Bob.
I know if you're listening to this
I
concurrently,
saw that look on their face, and I was like, he has no fucking idea.
if you're listening,
I wasn't even looking.
listening to this like straight through, I'm sure you're like, how the fuck could Bob forget? They just did this twice, and like, well, we split this episode in half. So
Yeah, we recorded it in 2 days.
Aren't we clever? Hoo hoo hoo! You
Yeah.
don't even know.
you don't even know.
Except now we're gonna tell you.
Yeah, the
Just
sausage.
ruined it.
The sausage is being made. So yeah,
We've
we're
never
talking
been shy with the sausage.
talking about the critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes here. You guys know how I play the game. There's a total of 174 critics reviews. And Candy Randy, I'll let you go first. Where do you think the others is sitting?
Man, it's a tough call. I think that this is going to be generally liked by critics. I think that the fact that it's a Criterion movie is kind of a tip of the hand in that direction, although that's not always true. Also, it's tough to say how many of those reviews are more current versus of the time, because Rotten Tomatoes, I think, did exist in some capacity back then. I don't know. I'm gonna go caution to the wind a little bit and say 90.
All right, Randy's coming in with the 90 juice. How you feeling?
Well, I'll play it a little safer, and I'll just take the boys 86.
All right.
86. Project. All right. Well,
We
the
need a
boys-
good little Project 86 bump. I'll find one.
Yeah.
Find me one.
The boys are going to do you
I
good.
refuse to do the legwork on that. Because
yeah.
I'll tell you this, I've been meaning to make one for a long time. So just let me know.
for a decade. The critics are sitting at 84, so Juice, you're going to take it with your 86. 2 points away.
Okay.
That's a hell yeet, baby.
Pretty close. Pretty close. All right, moving
And then
over.
the priest came in and he said, hell yeet.
And then everything was fine. The ghost hauled ass.
That's what he said.
Priest came in.
Hell! Yeet! And they yeet away to hell.
The power of yeet compels you.
I like that.
Moving over to
Watch your
the
profanity.
popcorn meter. That will
Dude,
never
that does not
sound
look so
right.
Stupid. It looks so, just to see it written out
It
looks
does not
so
read
dumb.
well.
It doesn't.
P-cornometer. 250,000 plus ratings on this. Holy shnikes. Juice, kick us off. Where do you think it's at?
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. I think my guess would be slightly lower than the critics, but I think it's still going to be high. So I'm going to take an 80.
80 from Juice. Randeezy, where you at?
Yeah, you were like, that was dead on the number I was thinking, hovering around. So I don't know. I don't like to do the $1 thing, so I'll go ahead and see if we can get a tie. Maybe it's the same. You said that the critics was 82, right, Bob?
Is 84 for the critics.
84. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with an 83, and maybe we can split the diff.
Whoa.
But yeah, I just don't know, because like I feel like some people are gonna be like, this is bullshit. This is a ripoff of Sixth Sense, and some people are gonna be like, this is so slow. Where's the gore? Like, I think there's gonna be some of that in the mix.
Sure.
Well, it's not a tie. The correct answer is only 3 points away here. Juice, you're going to take it. It is
Whoa.
77%.
The power
I
of
got
you
none.
compels you.
I got
Hell
none
yeah.
this year.
Oh, the one time Randy gets to
Yeah.
play.
No
I
candy
lose the
for
fucking.
Randy.
I lose the poll every year, and I lose the fucking Rotten Tomatoes. God damn, my butt's
We
hurting
have
a
a
little
lot-
bit. My butt's
we
hurting
have-
just a little bit.
We have a lot of practice, Randy. It's okay.
Yeah.
Pour one out for Candy Randy. Sorry, brother.
Oh well. What are you gonna do?
Critics' consensus here says The Others is a spooky thriller that reminds us that a movie doesn't need expensive special effects to be creepy. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
I concur.
I feel like this has so much in common with Haunting of Hill House and like Flanagan's work in the haunted house space. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like so much of it feels informed by this sort of, I don't know, like non-gore, slow burn, not
Set it
plotting,
up,
but
deliver,
intentional.
set it up, deliver. Yeah.
A few jump scares properly placed, including in
Yeah.
his case, one of the best jump scares of the fucking decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got to have pulled on the thread of this movie a little bit here and there.
I got a couple negative critical reviews here.
Here we go.
Following
Here we
the
go.
Fill it,
footsteps of
bish.
Randy. So here's the first one here. The Others is only adequate as a spectral psychological thriller and pales in comparison to its predecessors of the 1940s. Amenabar is no Hitchcock and Kidman is neither Grace Kelly or Ingrid Bergman. Eat butts.
I don't know, man. Nicole Kidman, one of the
Nicole Kidman,
best loved actresses of our time.
Yeah,
I think maybe she has something to say.
Yeah.
This is
I think
definitely
she did a good job.
influenced by old school haunted house movies, like for sure. But I think it honors them. Like it's not cheap.
Also,
so,
too,
too.
yeah, it's a little like, I just can't touch something from 60 years ago. It's like you're something separated by 60 years. You're definitely looking at it through a specific lens that nothing's going to be like in Europe, probably in Europe, but nothing's ever going to be.
This doesn't compare to one of the greatest filmmakers, time tested of all time, Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, well, fucking, is that the only bar? Like,
Wank, wank. That's from 2019 too, so fairly recent. There's another one from 2019 here. It says,
fuck that shit.
Beyond the evident technical proficiency on show, the film is still reduced to its primary narrative parlor game of trying to guess the ghostly twist.
Which one of y'all dead motherfuckers just said that shit?
A little more fair, I think.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't think that, I think that the only reason people were trying to guess Rob were trying to guess the twist is because when this came out, I don't think that somebody who watches this movie in isolation of that, or who didn't experience that, maybe a younger person watches this and doesn't have any idea just how they're not looking for the twist the way we were at that time, back when every movie needed to shoehorn a twist in.
Fucking trend. I'm so glad that's dead.
Yeah, I mean, it still happens, but it feels it's not as fucking insanely all-encompassing in every movie, which I appreciate. There are turns, but not necessarily twists. And
it's not the thing that people are waiting at the beginning of the movie to see if they can
immediately
guess.
guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, is people had to back off enough to where you're not just immediately thinking that the rug's going to get pulled every time.
Yeah.
And now you can have the rug pull occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Shyamalan.
Thanks for fucking everything up.
You fuck.
Dude, I watched this movie called Caddo Lake today on Max, and it was produced by Shyamalan. And just watch it. Don't read anything about it. Don't watch a trailer. Just put it on.
What is it called?
Caddo Lake?
Caddo Lake. Caddo Lake.
Okay.
I
was trying to figure out what. That's not
good.
Is it like a play on Cadillac?
No. It's not. just watch it. It's good.
That's a weird pull, but all right.
Check it out.
Cadillac Lake,
my boy.
That's where all the necking goes down.
Damn.
My boy Neckin' Randy. All right. Neckin' Wreckin' Randy. We got trivia. Let's go ahead and get into some trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, Candy Randy. This was a major box office success. Grossed $210 million worldwide on a $17 million budget.
Holy shit.
I had no idea.
That's a win right there. Damn.
Way to go. Way to go there.
I'm so glad that this doesn't have an endless amount of fucking Insidious style sequels or some shit.
Yeah.
The others
again.
They're
still
even
dead.
otherer.
The others in the further.
You'll never guess who's dead this time.
The red
It's
door
you.
opens.
Oh my god. At the
Patrick Wilson steps out.
dude, the crossover.
A place I
nobody
like to call the others.
The others.
Oh.
At the 16th
boy.
Goya Awards, the film earned a leading 15 nominations and won 8, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay. It was the first English-language film to be awarded Best Film at Spain's Goya Awards without a single word in Spanish. Boom. The disease the children have is an actual disease known as xeroderma pigmentosum, which is an extreme sensitivity to sunlight. Very rare, with roughly 1,000 people in the world known to have it.
1,000. Damn, that's slim.
That is
That's
slim.
rough, man. I guess
Yeah,
you
that's a
gotta
rough
live in
life.
a foggy ass motherfucking place for that shit.
Yeah, where are you
for the extra
moving?
coverage.
Where are you moving if you got that? Alaska?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Alaska.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like
Except for those
somewhere
days where
far
it's
north.
like
The vampires come out.
But isn't there some also times where it's like daylight all day?
I think
or
so.
like,
Yeah.
oh no,
There are.
So then
yeah.
you're like
it depends
extra
on where
fucked.
you are.
Yeah,
Yeah. You just go to the other pole, I guess.
Yeah, real convenient. Just
Yeah.
hop
yeah.
on
I'm
down.
gonna just fly on
from pole to
I'm gonna
pole.
go from I'm gonna go from South Pole to North Pole real quick from the next 6 months. That should be easy.
In reality, people did photograph their deceased loved ones during the late 19th century. Most were photographed lying down, as if in a deep sleep. Others would be propped up in chairs posed with favorite objects, such as children with favorite playthings, adults with books or newspapers.
Bob and all those blues.
Yeah. Bury me in the blues.
Surrounded by the blues.
Prop me up in the blue room.
The throne of blues for this dead man.
Throw me.
He's got
in
two
the blue
discs
room
on his eyes.
to pay
Bob's
the ferryman.
You gotta pay
Bob's
the
already got
ferryman
the
with-
10 blues he's going to be buried with picked out.
Let's hear him, Bob. Rattle
10.
them off.
More like 10.
Are they all Godzilla 1998 copies?
Every version I could find. Also on VHS, laser.
Still
disc.
looking for some.
Yeah.
Every country I go to, I got to get Bob a Godzilla.
That's a true friend right there.
Uh-huh.
So Alejandro Amenabar wrote and directed the movie. He also composed and orchestrated the music for it. So that dude is fucking killing it on every level.
Damn.
Good for him.
Jesus Christ.
Some people have all the fucking talent, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise's high-profile divorce was finalized the same week this was released. And I think Tom Cruise was a producer on it too, actually.
Good for Nicole Kidman.
That's interesting because, this director, Alejandro Amenabar, is that his name?
Yeah, I believe that's how you say it.
He has a credit for Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise that came out the same year. So I guess he was just thick with the Cruises at the time.
I've never seen Vanilla Sky. I did watch Eyes Wide Shut for the first time last year, which also has Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise in it, and it's good and spooky.
I want to see the whole Kidman Cruise universe, I think, after this.
Nah, it's all right. This is the last bit I've got here for your trivia. Though not an adaptation of Henry James's novella, The Turn of the Screw, this film borrows from the famous Ghost Stories themes, and its title seems to be a reference to the novella's referencing of the servant apparitions as, quote, the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were another good red herring. We didn't really talk about them as red herrings, but
yeah.
They were the ultimate ones, really.
Yeah, for
they
sure.
were just like pre-existing ghosts. I never would have considered that.
Yeah, the shit that they would say is like, they know something.
Yeah, that's the thing is like they know something, but what are they, like fucking spies or what? What is this and for what?
I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah, Miss
To what
Mills
end?
was just like steadily dropping knowledge on Nicole Kidman throughout the movie too. Like, grieving for your loved ones often leads you to do strange things, like murder your kids. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. That's Nicole Kidman. That's a line from the
That's
movie.
Nicole Kidman. That's how her inner voice sounds.
Oh yeah, Miss Mills. Yeah. It's closer to Fred Durst, I think. That's all I got for trivia. Boys, let's go ahead and do Cooter of the Week for all three of these movies.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the
Juice, what is a cooter? Why do we hunt them?
Ho! Cooter's character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, but we want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, my little backdrop moon makes me look kind of holy, don't you think?
Well, we found the cooter. Smug
I think we
arrogance.
found this.
So, boys, who's our cooter this week? I think we got some good choices to pull from. You guys want to start with our first movie, Ghostbusters, and say what's his old Peter Venkman?
His old Peter.
God damn,
Let's
dude.
say his old Peter.
Sexual deviance. Yeah.
Check.
Yes, he is putting the moves on fucking like
The
co-eds that he is a professor over and paying, and also at the same time
so
just
mad about it. Yeah,
just being such a fuckhead to the other guy for no reason.
Yeah,
Shocking his ass.
Just to make himself look better. I don't know. Or make her feel better. Manipulation. There you go. Yeah, it's all part of the game.
You got it correct. You got to do 80 more of these.
Smug arrogance. That dude is smug as fuck.
Yeah, smug as
insane.
fuck.
So that's 3 solid
So that's
already.
3 right there. Looking at attire, was there anything in particular?
His hair looks kind of like unkempt. He's like not super.
Oh my god! Get a comb! God damn!
He's not
Get
real
a haircut,
tidy.
you bum. He gets slimed.
He does get slimed like a bitch.
I don't think that's an apparel situation.
He's wearing it.
He wears
Doesn't
it
wear
well.
that slime well.
I guess
I think he looks fine.
I get
he looks fine.
Wear the slime. The slime's
Overall-
wearing him. Okay.
I don't want to become the cooter, the thing we're hunting here, and hunting for those points.
Overall patheticness.
I mean, he kind of gets his way all the time. He's kind of got,
kind of comes out on top.
Yeah, he's got that Ferris Buellerian fucking winning all the time situation going.
I find his general demeanor
makes it extra irritating,
pathetic. But yeah, he's like pretty capable.
But it works for him. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
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 He doesn't. He never gets put out by it. Like very rarely. Anyway.
So
well, all right. He comes up with 3. We want to go to the bitch
from Casper,
Kerrigan.
Yeah, Kerrigan.
Dude. Yeah,
we can start there.
Smug.
Yeah,
yeah.
Smug arrogance.
Yeah. Sexual deviance, like I think it's alluded to, but like I don't know.
I don't know that it is. Are you talking about with Dibs?
Yeah,
with Dibs.
She's putting stuff in his butt for sure.
Which is fine.
Dominating somebody, it does not
upset,
have
though.
to be sexual. Like, to point that out. Just being a dominant person
But it
does not
doesn't
make
not
you
have
immediately
to.
sexual.
You know.
Yeah, maybe
Sure.
she doesn't have
I
the
can't
sexual
prove a negative,
deviance.
bro.
Manipulation, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Patheticness, I would give her a little bit of patheticness too.
I would say patheticness, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like
She
gets
doesn't
tricked
like get
very
anything from
easily.
her dad, and she like's not capable of doing anything herself, and she falls out, she just falls off of a cliff.
And
Hey,
dies.
let me ask you a question that I they probably said in the movie, but I don't remember. Why did her dad have possession of this house? Like, what was he to Casper and Casper's dad?
It don't really.
Yeah.
I don't,
They just-
I don't know if there's some
random.
Not
secret.
important.
Yeah.
Not important.
Okay.
Well, it's
Alright.
been condemned, so I mean, it's not like anybody's been living there. So maybe he's rich and he bought it for property's sake.
I guess so. But like,
But,
he
yeah.
also has room. Like, he somehow knows there's a treasure in. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. That's
It's
a
a
good
question mark for me.
That is. We don't know the dad's name even, so we can't even.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if they had a scene of him, like just a pre-credit scene of him, like being a treasure hunter or some shit, or like
Maybe,
being interested in the treasure and just not telling his spoiled ass daughter. Then that would have been fine.
Really, okay. So for doing some speculation here, the only thing we know about him is he's leaving all of his money to preservations to like save the dolphins, save the thing. So maybe he knows there's a ghost and he's like preserving the ghost.
Maybe, but it seems like he would, mention it somehow. I don't know.
Maybe he wants his.
And why leave it to your piece of shit daughter who
Evil
just wants
ass,
money out of you? Obviously?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
All right.
her look and attire, she looks dumb when she's a ghost. Looks bad.
Well, pathetic. Okay, she gets tricked too. She gets tricked in the very end.
I think she's pathetic. We can give her that.
So
How does she die
gets.
again? I don't recall.
She falls. Well, 2 ways. She gets tricked into crossing over.
Yeah.
I have no unfinished business. And then,
Just saying that is enough to like. What if Casper just said that? Would he go?
But-
to
I guess
heaven
so.
or whatever.
if he believed it. But she falls out, so she crashes her car into a tree, and she steps out of the car,
Yeah,
and she's on a
okay, I
cliff,
remember
and
now.
she falls off.
So
So that's 3: manipulation, smug arrogance, overall patheticness, for sure. So she also gets 3.
You can make an argument for Casper. This is
Casper's the cooter. All right, well, give it to us, Randy.
All right, I'm gonna say the keep you line. Fucking weird, pathetic
What?
shit.
Okay, pathetic. Okay.
Okay.
This young child's pathetic. Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
This
that's
young
fine. That's what
100-year-old child is pathetic. Yes. Yeah. What else we got? Like, if you're gonna go look at attire, ghosts are weird looking. Then we got to go be consistent there. What else we got? Sexual deviance. I don't know, man. He's a little weird about the girls. A little weird about the girls in this to
It's
me.
just a 12-year-old boy, Randy. I mean, you know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're a ghost, man. You got nothing. You got nothing to work with. What else? What are the other points?
Randy's talking about ghost genitalia.
Manipulation.
That
He kind of
ghost
plies
dick,
people
yeah.
with pancakes. I'm just saying.
Manipulation.
Kind of plying his
How
his
dare
would-be
he
girlfriend.
cooked breakfast?
He's a little bit of an incel, guys. Like he's
a
very
he's a
jealous
child.
of. He's very jealous. Yeah, and he's involuntarily celibate. Definitively is an incel.
Well, 12. Like, I don't think he should be fucking yet. I don't know.
He's not 12.
Well,
He's a fucking ghost boy.
perpetually 12.
perpetual.
Randy.
Yeah.
He's
He
in.
can't
He's
get any
perpetually
older.
friend zoned, and he's resentful of that.
What a pathetic piece of shit.
That's how school shooters are formed,
man.
baby. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think we got it for Casper personally. I don't.
Rob's saying no.
I think it's a
Wouldn't.
stretch.
Rob's inner child wouldn't have it.
I think it's a stretch.
Going to the others, maybe the Ma?
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
dude. Yeah, I
There's
mean,
an argument. Yeah.
I'd give her patheticness. I mean, she kills her fucking kids, man. Like, that's,
Yeah.
That just
Deal with your
That's a-
grief better, bitch.
Deal with your grief
Yes.
without killing people is like,
You
man,
should
that's good
deal with it
advice for
better.
just about
Yeah.
anybody.
you really ought to be able to deal with it better. Yes.
You should probably don't let your trauma come out in the form of murder. I think is just a
Oh
good
my
rule of
God.
thum for all people.
Yeah.
Kind of pathetic that she didn't follow that.
Manipulation.
I don't know that
No,
she
she is
manipulates people. She's just
manipulated, yeah.
confused. She's
She is
the truth seeker
confused.
from our perspective anyway.
She's got some smug arrogance, though. She treats the help kind of like
Yeah.
shit, even though she really needs them.
Yeah, she's definitely smug.
runs a tight ship. You know.
Yeah. She blames
also-
them all the time. Are you suggesting that I did this? Like, she
Yeah,
can't.
that was arrogant.
She's
that
infallible,
line in
yeah.
particular is
Yeah.
very arrogant.
So arrogant, patheticness, and maybe
I don't know. Looking at Tyre, she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine.
Manipulation, I don't see it.
no sexual deviance.
Sexual
No,
deviancy,
not
no.
really.
Like I don't think she's a
All
cooter.
right.
I think that even those other
All
2
right.
points were kind of stretchy.
So we got the big ones are Peter Venkman, who seems like cooter, and then Kerrigan.
Shoe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honorable mention to Casper. I don't think
Yeah.
there is one in the others though. Like I really don't.
I
I don't know
think
who
so.
else would even really come up in the conversation.
I,
Like, there's really
I think since
The
he's
little
like
girl
not
would be
a
a stretch,
villain,
but-
I think Venkman stands out a little more because, you know,
Yeah.
You're supposed to
villains
like
are
him.
made to be hated. Yeah.
He's just a piece
Yeah,
of shit.
and Kerrigan is a mustache twirling piece of shit, and that's like automatically like dampens the cooter label because it's like
Yeah.
it's
like
cartoony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but not necessarily though because Jeremiah Sand exists. But you know,
Well, yeah. Well, all right. We got some.
I think we got him.
Venkman is the cooter of the trilogy
Dude,
here.
on
I
this
Whoa.
think.
episode, yeah, for sure. He really is.
I think so.
We got him.
Lock him and fucking
Lock him and fuck him.
baby. Lock him and fuck him.
Get
Sure.
the sheet. He'd like that, wouldn't he?
Maybe.
Bob, please don't start.
Please
late.
don't tire Bob
Too late.
with your sheet talk. No more sheet talk.
I love talking sheet. Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope
That's
you
the
guys-
new straight chilling tea right there. I love talking sheet.
talking sheet.
I love talking
And
sheet.
then it's just a ghost.
Yeah, all right.
Dude, that'd be,
I can draw a ghost pretty quick.
that'd be pretty
Actually, I already
great.
have a ghost. I used it for the graphics for this
love talking
episode, so we'll just
sheet.
throw it on a t-shirt.
Dude, yeah.
There we
We
go.
at
love
that.
talking sheet. I'm sure we'll sell like
Straightchilling.com.
up to three t-shirts.
One of them's Bob.
We did sell a handful of our Chilloween shirts this year. And
I know, and I'm very, very happy to hear
a
it.
hoodie.
Nice.
I think Nate.
And
Nate
a hat.
got hoodie. Yeah, and a hat.
Was that
Yeah.
a Chilloween hat, right?
I think it
Somebody got
was,
a trucker
yeah.
hat out.
Trucker hat,
Of one of the
Nice.
things, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks to everybody that bought
We
some
love
merch.
talking sheet.
I hope you dig it. Hope you dig
Sincerely.
it. Keep your eyes peeled for our Talking Sheet shirt. Happy Halloween. Hope you guys are having a great time. Staying safe. We'll be back next week with a brand new show. As always, we're talking about another Patreon pick. This one was chosen by your boy Naderade. The movie is The Halloween Tree. Check it
Whoa.
out. Yeah. The
Spooky
Halloween
season.
train rolling.
Full swing. Here we go. We
We're
did
doing
our
it.
Nicker Tree. We did this Halloween tree. Good
Oh
stuff.
my gosh!
And then episode
gosh.
500.
Oh my God. What are we going to
God
do for
damn.
500?
I
We
can't
have no
imagine what we're gonna
ideas
say.
What's going to happen?
We haven't already spent hours on it. I don't know. Check out the
Jesus.
Halloween Tree. Get ready for next week's show. You can find us on social media everywhere. Straight Chilling Podcast. Hang out with us for our Chilloween party this Friday. I hope you're having a lovely holiday season. Staying safe. Eating all the candy. And until next time, as always, everybody, please keep chilling.
It's Miller time.